Let's all thank the wonderful patrons for supporting the channel. I can't show everything from the visual novel, so if you support me in Patreon, you will be able to watch everything from the old to the naughty. Also, don't forget to ring that bell when you subscribe so you'll be notified with future videos. Now, let's start the show!
Hello everybody! My name's UkeKooki and welcome back for more Temptation's Ballad! Now, as we all remember from the last time we played this, we finally have with Sid, we finally have training with the bone marrows, and then we had a little pep talk with the mama bird and also the Papa Yin. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's play Temptation's Ballad. Ooh, what's this? Character glossary. Ooh, we're gonna know about something of the two. Marrow Bonebreaker. Oh my god, what the heck is this? Wait, what? Why is his intelligence and wisdom so low? That cannot be. What? He's 45 years old? Man, he looks good for a 45. The coward's rage burns bright and blind. Coward's what? Marrow Bonebreaker is a legend among the city of I have a feeling that Marrow Bonebreaker is also a bard. Because how in the world? Marrow Bonebreaker is a legend among the city of Axia for his horrific history of destroying property owned mostly by nobles, holding hostages of nobles' assets in exchange for better city infrastructure, and inspiring fear across the land in nobles. After wreaking an amount of destruction that even the royal family could not ignore, his merry crew of mercenaries, of gaysonaries, finally settled down after city officials gave in to all their demands and also pardoned the Bonebreakers of all their crimes. I mean, it's Marrow Bonebreaker. Nowadays, he and his partner Hamish led the Bonebreaker Mercenary Guild in an honest living of mercenary work in the city of Axia. The origins of this famous warrior is shrouded in rumor and mystery. Some claim that he was a child raised by feral animals in the wilderness of the exterior, while others say that he was a noble himself who ran away from home in rebellion. Marrow alleges during an interview that he popped into existence through sheer willpower and spite. Yeah, sure, whatever. When his partner Hamish was asked to confirm his statement, he has simply rolled his eyes and asked the interviewer to cough up their publicity payment. Items. Vox Soror, the Great Axe. Okay. The signature weapon of Marrow Bonebreaker. This great axe sports a massive blade that shimmers as dark as midnight. Crafted by the disgraced blacksmith Clyde Bessemer, this axe features the finest and sharpest Damascus steel in the land, and possesses the ability to neutralize magic at the slightest touch. Quite fitting for a barbarian who holds magic in great contempt. Marrow named his masterwork as Vox Soror, or roughly translated Sister's Voice. Sister's Voice! Of course, because that's the only voice where he chopped your head off going, it helps cut through all the bullshit in my life, Marrow Bonebreaker asserts with a grin. The interviewer notes that there was a bittersweet edge to the warrior's voice as he spoke. Glass Eye. What happened to this? Fans and admirers across the city have frequently offered to craft stylish eye patches for Marrow, all of whom he had declined. His missing eye was a product of his mistakes and misplaced loyalty, and he chooses to wear his glass eye proudly as a reminder of what truly matters. Upon close examination, the scar tissue around his eye indicate that the injury was caused by a magical source. Okay. Hamish Bonebreaker. What the short is this? A spotted hyena. He's 1 year younger than freaking Marrow? What's this? It's a professional wait, who's writing this? Husband / professional cutie / a beast in bed / a big meaty / Marrow Bonebreaker is no longer allowed access to the file drawer. Strength 12, dexterity 19, constitution 12. How is he? His intelligence is to be higher than this. How in the world? Become irreplaceable. Never give them a reason to leave. Hamish began life as the humble son of a hunter and a scullery maid. From a young age, he was trained in the art of hunting and tracking by his father, and brought some home quality meals and pelts to support his family. His home life was a modest but happy one. When tragedy struck and Hamish found himself alone in the world, he was taken in by Marrow Bonebreaker and served as his right-hand man. Soon after, a romance blossomed between them. Wow, with Hamish, you explaining this to Hamish is okay then. Soon after, a romance blossomed between them, and these two hyenas have since become inseparable. Despite the man's stern exterior, Hamish is rather sensitive and prone to crying. It is a habit that he has learned to curtail over the years, especially in the presence of their son. But it occasionally resurfaces behind closed doors. Marrow thinks it's adorably sweet, while Hamish threatens to make Marrow sleep on the couch the next time he calls his crying spouts cute. Items. Cape of holding? What does it... Oh yeah, sure. I'm holding all of my equipment in this cape of holding. A cape whose fibers are woven from several disassembled bags of holding. Of course it is. But... Though he would never admit it, Cole got the idea for his own loincloth of holding from Hamish. Unlike his son's sloppy job, Hamish's cape was skillfully woven over the course of several months and is incredibly durable. The thick cloth is capable of softening blows from arrows and daggers alike, so it's like Batman cape? The various pockets lining the interior can hold up to 500 pounds of goods, which Hamish uses to store weaponry, medical supplies, and tools for his wire traps and hunting efforts. During a certain incident, Marrow jumped inside the cape as a joke and disappeared for about 6 minutes before the Bonebreaker mercenaries managed to drag his unconscious body back out. What? Hey guys, wanna see a magic trick? Hamish! Hamish! Come back, Hamish! It turned out that it was very hard to breathe inside the cape of holding. Hamish refused to sleep with Marrow for about a week after this incident as punishment. Many members of the Bonebreaker Guild recall witnessing their leader reduced to tears during this period of punishment. Nightcrest or longbow. Hamish is... Oh, that longbow looks impractical. Okay. I see. Alright then. Hamish's preferred weapon is a sleek and unassuming bow. The high draw weight allows him to fire multiple arrows with great force over a massive distance. You know, I'm not good with with bow and arrow designs. So if Shirokoi, like, what you call this, research all of this, then okay, then I'll take it. The high draw weight allows him to fire multiple arrows with great force over a massive distance. One of the Bonebreaker's preferred strategies is for Marrow to lead the charge against a group of enemies during their attention while Hamish picks them off from a distance. Instead of wearing a quiver, Hamish keeps a variety of specialty arrows within his cape of holding. Okay, what are these arrows? Like a floating arrow, a straight arrow, a curvy arrow? How many arrows does he have? Wire thread. Oh look! It's the Ice King skyhooks! Hamish keeps several types of trap wire within his cape of holding. Thin wire, that looks thin? Thin wires for subtle traps and thicker barbed wires for ensnaring large prey. And tiny threads for flossing teeth. Tiny threads for flossing teeth. I cannot believe I have to read that. And a tiny thread for flossing teeth. Curiously, he also owns several rolls of wire made of pure aetherite, a metal that conducts magical energy and functions as a great supplement to spellcasting. And that's it! We can now continue on with our life. Proceeding. Chapter 3. The person. My choice is made. The Firefly Festival was one of the biggest festivals within the city of Axia. Taking place over the course of 3 days, and sometimes longer, depending on how many drunkards linger, the city is alight with its celebration, competition, and partying. Each day of the festival honors a different aspect of life. The first Firefly Day celebrates the present in the form of a sporting competition. The famed Axia Jousting Tournament and Grand Brawl is held to commemorate our rivalry and camaraderie with our common man. All warriors from across the land are welcome to test their mettle in the brawling tournament. Fight amongst yourselves to see who is most fitting for the title of champion. The City Watch would like to remind all fighters to cover the blades of their weapons with protective wax that festival organizers are provided in order to prevent a great toe-chopping incident from ever reoccurring. The city clerics were exhausted after spending hours magically reattaching lost digits and firmly request brawlers avoid any under-the-belt tactics. Why can't you just, I don't know, confiscate or deposit all of the weaponry? The winner of the Grand Brawl will receive a handsome cash prize of Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmetics and a cash prize of $100,000 by this year's sponsor, House Osmia, who have generously taken up organizing duties after the recent passing of our beloved king and queen. More refined and noble individuals may prefer the grace of the jousting tournament. Participants are required to bring their own steed in order to qualify. The winner of this donkey. The winner of this tournament will be gifted a boon from the Honorable House of Osmia. Many thanks for their incredibly generosity this year. Yay! Oh, what's that? The second day of the Firefly Festival is a memorial to the past, spent honoring our loved ones who have passed on. The lantern lighting event will be held at midnight in Central Town Square. This year, a great mural of our late king and queen shall be erected upon the town square gates in their memory. All are encouraged to attend. If not, we'll kill you! We'll put you down and we whip you on your back! Finally, the last day of the festival is in celebration of our future to come. Wow. Present, past, and future. Like words! Parties and alcohol will fill the streets with jovial cheer. Remember to have fun and enjoy yourselves. Festival organizers would like to remind all attendees to remain clothed while in public areas. Artemi flipped through the festival pamphlet with a giddy grin, her tail wagging impatiently as she sat in the Bonebreaker Guild lobby. I've never attended such a crowded event before. Of course, I will focus on our goal of investigating the nobility, but I hope we will still have the time to partake in the festivities while we're there. Do you think we can spare some time for recreations today, Cole? Cole? Where did you... Artemi glanced about in confusion. There was a low yawn as Cole sleepily staggered into the lobby and squinted at her with half-lidded eyes like, huh? The three of them had agreed to meet here at the Bonebreaker Guild early this morning to prepare for the festival, but Cole was never one to stick to schedule. It appears he wasn't the only one. Sid was also nowhere in sight. Cole stifled another yawn before stumbling his way towards Artemi's table and stealing a gulp of her tea. Hey. Are you still reading that damn pamphlet? The daytime events are kinda okay, but the real fun comes at night on Rotten Red's alley. If you know what I mean. The gay bars are always fully packed during the festival. Artemi blinked. What makes these specific bars more happy than the average? It's in the name! It's called Gay Bar! It's a happy bar! Cole sighed and stole another swig of Artemi's tea. Don't worry about it. Anyway, there's something else I gotta ask you about. He spared a quick glance around the Bonebreaker lobby. At this hour, nobody else was around it. It looked like Papa Marrow hadn't gotten up yet. Good. Oh, Cole discreetly dug into his pocket to toss a handful of arcane crystals onto the table. Gonna ask you for a favor. Can you charge up a few of these crystals with some combat spells? Now that we're diving into this investigation, we might run into that cloaked mage again. Especially me, since I've got the, never mind. As a guy with no fighting ability or offensive spells, I want something up my sleeve in case shit hits the fan again. Artemi frowned, confused, like, what? Why would feces ever collide with a... It's a figure of speech, it was poop! Listen, can you just hurry up and charge these babies up before my papa comes down here? Artemi pouted. I'd appreciate it if you explain these confusing idioms once in a while. She reluctantly held up one of the arcane crystals and closed her eyes. Point of lightning! Sharp streaks of lightning suddenly erupted from her hand. Her finger looked so weird and darted from one crystal to another, igniting them with a painfully bright glow. Here you go. I've charged these crystals with several casts of Thunder Wave! It'll paralyze the enemy. They should serve to incapacitate any foes you come across. She handed Cole another crystal with much softer glow. And this one is charged with a cure wounds for when you face any light injuries. I pray that you won't have to use it. Cole grinned and held one of the crystals in his hand like a child with a new toy, like, ha! It buzzed with the warm, tingling sensation against his fingers. Magic will never cease to fascinate him, like, whoa! I never knew that holy magic could be warm. Artemi cleared her throat politely. Speaking of being prepared, is there anything I should know before beginning our mission today? I understand that I'm rather inexperienced with social gatherings. I wish to make a good impression if our goal is to earn the trust of these nobles. Cole snorted. Experience? That's putting it lightly. Rude? Cole reached for the last of Artemis' tea, but Yalbasi's hand was swatted aside like Quit stealing my drinks! Is this how the creator's chosen treats those she's seeking help from? Scandalous. This has nothing to do with being chosen and all to do with you being a brat, Cole. On the contrary, your actions hold more weight than you think. You ask for advice on dealing with nobles? There are two things you have to keep in mind. 1. They treat their blood as though it runs with gold. Are you part of a noble family or bloodline? No? Okay. Then they want nothing to do with you. Someone like me or Sid would be looked at like gunk they're scraping off the bottom of their boots. You, on the other hand, are a different case. Not exactly a noble, but as the daughter of the Grand Bishop, you're bound to get a little more respect from these folks. Not to mention the whole chosen one thing and whatnot. Artemi fidgeted uncomfortably. Yes. I quite understand. Her Excellency had forced me to memorize all the major family trees of the nobility during my training. The charts were very large, and I never finished studying them. The Knight Commander accidentally mistook the charts for scrap and used them in his paper-mache project. Curse you, Knight Commander! Are you sure that was an accident? Of course! The Knight Commander would never make a mockery of such an important subject. Oh, you don't know! Anyway, what does this have to do with anything? Hey! Cole grabbed the last of Artemis' tea and drank it down in one gulp. Ah, sweet caffeine. And there's point number 2. Noble's treasure status. You're a bit of an idiot, but you're still the creator's chosen. That gives your presence and words a lot of social weight when it comes to dealing with nobles. I wouldn't be surprised if a few tried to butter you out to get on your good side. You can use that to your advantage when you're talking to these people. Try and fish out some gossip and news about powerful folks who have grown interested in rubies or power recently. Artemi frowned as she struggled to wrap her mind around the idea. But surely I do not hold such importance. This is much more complicated than simply participating in today's festivities. I hope you still have time to enjoy the Firefly Festival in between all this. Cole suddenly felt his pockets shift as Malice crawled out and onto the dining table. Oh, the black snake! Ooh!
I concur with your smelly celestial friend. Think of all the food that we can stumble at this festival. Puny mortal, I command you to visit every food stall we come across. I am Mojo Jojo. I must savor the many tastes of the material plane. Hey, what are you doing?
Ah! Malice screamed as Cole grabbed a large bowl and tossed it over the tiny python, firmly trapping him against the table like Tiny thumbs reverberated through the wood as the snake struggled to escape. You should really treat your pets with more kindness, Cole. No. The two of them suddenly perked up at the thundering sound of footsteps. Oh, here we go, Daddy! Marrow Bonebreaker poked his head into the tavern lobby, his ears perking curiously at the sound of Malice's muffled screams.
Well! You sound pretty chipper this morning.
Good morning, Sir Bonebreaker. Cole flashed Marrow a panicked smile before hastily shoving all the cracking crystals into his pocket. Yeah. Hey, Papa. We're just prepping our plan for the Firefly Festival and whatnot. Will you be participating in the brawling tournament, Sir Bonebreaker? It sounds right up your alley. Marrow barked a hearty laugh and shook his head.
Never! I usually don't do the Firefly Festival.
Why ever not? Marrow gave a nonchalant shrug.
Sorry, lass. I have this medical condition where I develop this uncontrollable urge to clobber nobles on sight.
My, that sounds serious and useful. You should see a healer about this immediately. Cole sighed and rubbed his temples.
Dude. There's no cure for this affliction, I'm afraid. Anyway, what are you kids waiting around here for? Don't pay any mind to an old yin like me. It's a festival. Go out there and enjoy yourselves.
Artemi, oh my god, Artemi, what happened? Artemi yelled as Marrow delivered a backslap. Ow! So hard she felt her bones rattle. I am wearing an armor, Sir Bonebreaker. She scrambled. Ah! Wait. Ah! She scrambled to reassemble her loosened armor as Cole received a much gentler, friendly slap of his own. Will do, Papa. We're just waiting for my other lackey to show up before we head out. You mean Sir Sid? He arrived and left a long time ago. Cole blinked in surprise. Huh? He did? When did this happen? You were very asleep. Long after our appointed meeting time. In contrast, Sir Sid set a diligent example by arriving and leaving early to attend a training session with Sir Clyde. He said he will meet us at the town square later. Oh, right. The whole weapons training thing. Cole snorted. Knowing Clyde, I'm sure those two are being very productive right now.
Oh, what's this? Now, make sure to grip the pole firmly and squeeze. Yeah, that's right. Firmly grasp it. Sid's mind was utterly blank, save for the fact that Clyde's face was dangerously close to his own. His cheeks felt hot as the sensation of the tiger's low breath tickled his ears like, Dude, are you even paying attention? Oh, of course I am! Everything's great! Everything is awesome! Just grip the pole firmly and... That's right, firmly grasp it! Sid jumped as he felt Clyde's arm hand caress up the length of his muscular arms. He adjusted his posture. You're getting the hang of it. Focus on your stance when you swing, or the sheer weight of the lanyards will knock you off balance. When you're thrusting your thick spear, make sure to adjust your hips like so. Clyde's hips were suddenly flush against his backside as the larger tiger squeezed his biceps teasingly. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? I have no idea what you're talking about. Ah, that's it! I'm sure they are being hardworking, disciplined warriors. Sure, yes, he is. He really is! You could learn from their example, Cole. Doubtful. Cole took a sip of tea and frowned at this empty cup. Yeah, I want more tea. I'm glad Sid's hanging out with Clyde, though. He could use some friends who aren't the two of us. Clyde's a clever and caring guy, too. He'll catch on to what Sid needs. Artemi blinked. What do you mean? You mean you haven't noticed? Sid's been all mopey and twitchy since yesterday's training exercises. He's not very good at hiding it. I did not notice that he had been rather uncomfortable in my presence earlier this morning. He was very hasty to leave. Artemi bit her thumb with a worried frown. Have I done something wrong? I don't mean to upset him. Cole sighed. No, you haven't done anything wrong. Just keep in mind who you are. Sid's never been a very self-assured guy. Being near you might be a little difficult sometimes. It's complicated. It's a complicated thing that Sid needs to sort out himself. He scratched his chin thoughtfully.
The two of us butting in would probably just make things worse. Let's just give him some space to think, yeah? Yeah, let's just give him some space to think. Artemi stared at him quietly for several long moments before finally nodding. I don't think I understand. But if that's what if that is what you believe, I will trust you in your judgment. Cole glanced up in surprise. Trust in me? A horrible decision, really. Artemi shot him a begrudging smile. Self-deprecating jokes aside, that is a gamble I'm willing to take. You've been a fairly dependable leader thus far, disregarding your cowardly scuffle at the fighting ring. Even then, you managed to do the right thing in the end. Not really. I'm just been doing all this because you're freaking scary when you're angry. And like, 3 different parents guilt-tripped me to hell and back yesterday. If I frick this up, I don't think Mrs. Shrikewood or that hot polar bear would never let me see the light of day again. Oh yeah, that hot polar bear, yes! Mrs. Shrikewood, you're dead! The knight smirked. Ah, I see how it is. If you required someone to yell at you to be a good person, then I will happily be there when required. Cole? Cole grimaced. Is that supposed to be comforting? A deep, hearty laugh shook the bonebreaker lobby. Cole yelped as Marrow suddenly delivered an encouraging back slap that sent him face first to the floor. Okay.
Look at my boy! All grown up and keeping an eye out for his little lackeys. Ah, it almost brings tears to my eye.
Ha! Cole clambered back into his feet with a pained wheeze. Alright, that's enough mushy talk. Oh, whew. Let's hurry up and head to town square for the festival. Artemi bolted up and beamed excitedly. Excellent! I simply can't wait to see what the festival has in store. Hurry up, Cole. Hey, hold your... The words scarcely left Cole's muzzle before the knight skipped out the door like a giddy child. Cole sighed and scratched his head. Today's gonna feel like herding cats, isn't it? Well, I better get going. Oh wait, I almost forgot. Cole grabbed the bowl off the table to reveal a huffy and furious Malice. Come on, Noodle, we gotta go.
Who is that black snake you have? You're putting him inside your loincloth, eh? Blast it, puny mortal! I will not suffer such disrespect! Brace yourself for the day I return to full power, for my rage will be tenfold! Ah!
The bite and scream were cut short yet again as Cole lazily shoved him into his pocket like...
Lively little guy, ain't he?
He never shuts up, apparently. Speaking of which, there was a small pause as Cole fidgeted awkwardly. His gaze danced around the empty lobby before returning to his father. What's gonna happen? Is Hamish around?
Hamish? He left at the crack of dawn to help track down those rubies of yours. Haven't seen him since. Why do you ask?
I was just gonna say bye and thanks before we left. You know, basic manners.
Oh, my son is doing the thing!
Marrow was startled for a moment before his face split into an overjoyed grin.
Oh, my tiny little fam is finally getting along.
Cole scowled and immediately marched out the door. Oh, frick off! Don't make this weird, Papa.
Love you too. Bye.
The door slammed shut with a resounding thud that shook the lobby floors. There was silence, followed by a quiet crack as the wood of the door frame split from the many access gouges it received yesterday. Marrow wins.
Oh, fudge! Him is gonna beat my arse for this.
And we're going to the market district. Soul's Arcane Curiosities. A mechanical clink filled the air as Sid twisted the lanyards in his grip, the massive halberd shrinking back into its final form. Normal form, sorry. He panted heavily and wiped the sweat off his brow before collapsing through the door of the small arcane shop. Clyde was right behind him with a proud grin.
Would you look at that? Well done! You're one hell of a quick learner, aren't you? Come, come. Settle down and take a break, man. I'll go grab you a drink. You deserve it after all the work you've done this morning. Sid's ears droop as he scratches his head bashfully.
Thanks. You're just a good teacher. And blacksmith. I had no idea this thing could change its shape in so many ways. I've been learning a lot from you.
He rested the silver halberd against the wall with a heavy thump. With the adrenaline and racing heartbeat of training slowly fading away, Sid felt a heavy weight begin to settle across his shoulders again. He shook his head to clear his thoughts and glanced up at Clyde with a forced smile. Kiss, kiss, kiss!
Hey, now I'm getting the hang of the Lanius. Maybe I'll impress some important people at the brawl today. There's a chance folks might see what a great job you did on the Lanius and be interested in sponsoring your blacksmithing career again. You'll come watch a tournament, won't you? People will want to meet the guy who made this masterpiece. This might be your chance to restart your blacksmithing dream.
Clyde handed him a tankard of chilled ale with a small smile.
Thanks for the optimism, but nah. You're a rookie adventurer, aren't you? Best avoid associating yourself with a disgraced blacksmith like me. It's more trouble than it's worth. Besides, I gotta watch over this shop during the tournament. Old man Soul probably won't be very happy to hear that I left my post to watch a sporting match.
Sid's shoulders slumped with disappointment. He picked up the Lanius and idly twirled it about, lost in thought.
I think you deserve better than this. The more I practice with the Lanius, the more I realize what a true masterwork weapon it is.
Oh, new sprite!
Sometimes I wonder if I really deserve to wield this thing. Shame it's wasted on a nobody like me.
Oh! Sid winced as an empty cup bounced off his head. He glanced up to see Clyde scowling sternly.
I'm not hearing any of this self-deprecating nonsense. That's Cole's job. You're one of the few people who can even lift a damn thing. You're fine. True, you're kinda empty-headed sometimes, but you're an honest fella with a good heart. I couldn't ask for anyone better to wield my work.
Sid's lips jerked into a doubtful grimace.
You sound like my mom when she's trying to cheer me up. All that positive empty chatter.
Clyde raised an eyebrow.
You don't believe me?
Of course I don't. Look at everyone else I'm working with.
He didn't notice that he had raised his voice until Clyde winced. Sid dipped his head apologetically and sat back down.
Just a few days ago, I was just another unemployed bum bouncing from job to job because nobody wanted me. I've always dreamed of being an adventurer, and I officially became one. From sheer dumb luck. Didn't do anything to deserve it. Just got plucked out of a crowd by Cole because I'm tall or something. How does that compare to the Creator's Chosen One?
Sid sighed and gripped the cool metal at his elbow tightly.
I should be grateful, but I don't know. I've been feeling nothing but incompetence since I got here. Did you know I finally met my hero yesterday? Marrow Bonebreaker. I've always looked up to the legend of a man, and now I get to work closely with him. I even get to spar with the man too.
A bitter laugh escaped his throat.
Got the shoits kicked out of me. My hero barely spared me a second glance. Artemi impressed him with flying colors though.
Because he bit him! Because she bit him!
Good for her.
Because she bit him!
Must be nice to be born with creator-blessed powers. I guess it's easier to impress people when you can shoot lightning out of your arsenal.
Sid grumbled.
Maybe I should start biting people more.
You can bite him! He's free!
What does biting have to do with anything? Nothing! Absolutely nothing! I'm just starting to sound pretty petty.
Cloud smiled and gave Sid a supportive clap on the shoulder.
Listen, man. Jealousy is a perfectly normal feeling. Ain't nothing shameful about it. When I first started out as a blacksmith, I was a damn nobody too. Seeing all the other guys my age who could perform better than me pissed me off to no end. But you see what the real problem was? Sid peered at him curiously.
What?
Those other guys did nothing wrong. I was just being an insecure little baby who didn't deal with my frustrations very well. So I just threw my frustrations at everyone else. Clyde shrugged. Like I said yesterday, I didn't make many friends back in the day. A soft, nostalgic smile suddenly spread across the tiger's face. Then I met Cole. The little guy always knew how to give good pep talks. The best cure for envy is self-improvement. I started focusing on myself and take little steps to improve my work. Probably helped that I had a cute little hyena cheering me on. The pissy, jealous feeling on my chest went away when I wasn't busy comparing myself with others. Cole always used to say. Clyde's smile suddenly fell and he took a deep swig of his ale. Anyway, don't feel too bad about being jealous, man. Everyone deals with it from time to time. Also, stop comparing yourself to that freaking chosen one. Everyone would feel like shorts with those kind of standards. He jabbed a finger at his chest. You know what I think you need? A mate. A mate! A mate! Heat instantly flashed across his face like, oh, are you talking about you, Mr. Clyde? What? A buddy, a peer, a bro, if you will. A tropa. Someone on your level who you can talk shorts with. Obviously can't be called cause he's your boss. My condolences, by the way. Autumn is the one you're comparing yourself with, so that's a no-go. You? You're participating in the tournament, right? There should be plenty of meat-headed warriors there. Go make some friends! There's bound to be someone you can see eye to eye. I mean, in your height and level, I mean. Sid scratched his head nervously.
I guess. I'm not exactly the best with talking to people.
Clyde laughed and clapped Sid on the shoulder good-naturedly. Just throw some alcohol in there and you'll be fine. Plus, it's a damn festival. Everyone's gonna be in a jolly mood. Just be your cute, clueless self. I'm sure some guys gonna fall into your lap eventually.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
Sid was suddenly cut off by the sharp toll of the city's bell tower. He sprang up to his feet and he counted each ring of the bell.
Oh, Short! How long have I been here? I was supposed to meet up with everyone in town square right now. Thanks for the talk, Clyde, but I gotta get going.
Clyde smiled and leaned back in his chair. Have fun out there, my dude, my husband, my gentleman, my partner. I'll be working here in the meantime. Buy me a few souvenirs while you're there, will you? Sid froze. He patted his tight pants pockets frantically. I have no money! What's the matter? You forgot something?
My coin purse! I was gonna buy Mom something nice while I was at the festival. Yeah, I'm a complete dumb ox. Gotta rush home now. I'll see you around.
Clyde watched in amusement as the badger scrambled out the door while tripping on his own feet. He shook his head quietly before downing the rest of his ale. Jealous, huh? Yep! Market District, Sparrow's Roost Tavern and Inn. We're gonna go here. Mom! I forgot my coin purse! Sid never ran so fast in his life. The doors of the Sparrow's Roost Inn and Tavern burst open as the badger fell into the wooden floors, his chest heaving painfully.
Sorry, Mom, have you seen my... Huh?
Sid was starting to see a familiar hyena leaning over the inn counter with a timid face. Is it Hamish? Hamish! I was right. He scratched his head sheepishly as though he had been caught in an unsightly act. Oh, hi. Good morning, Sid. You doing well?
Sid nodded curiously as he struggled to gain his breath.
Yeah, just on my way to the town square, and what are you doing here?
Before Hamish could open his mouth, Ilya cheerfully glided to the kitchen doors with a thick stack of parchment on her arms. Here you go, Mr. Hamish. All of my best recipes and kitchen tips in one organized stack. No! Is Hamish trying to become a good dad? I never knew you were such a self-conscious man. Just because your son enjoyed my cooking doesn't mean he doesn't appreciate yours. Hamish's gaze darted between Sid and Ilya before he hastily collected the recipes. The older hyena cleared his throat loudly. Cole has made his opinion heard. Loudly. Thank you for humoring me, Mrs. Shrikewood. I'll try and put your work to good use. How much do I owe you? Oh, nothing at all, dear. It's quite hard for me to see such a loving father be attentive to his son's wants and needs. Why, I should be thanking you and Cole for keeping a watchful eye on my little boy at your mercenary company. Sid is a sweet and talented lad. He just needs someone to give him a nudge once in a while. Mom! Oh, Sid! When did you get home? I figured you'd be back sooner than later. You've forgotten your coin purse in the kitchen again. The old bird chirped cheerfully as she handed the purse to her son with a knowing look and a pinch to his cheek. Sid face flushed. He glanced at Hamish before awkwardly stuffing his purse into his pocket.
Mom, you're embarrassing me in front of my hero's boyfriend.
No, it's not boyfriend. It's husband. Husband. It's just my job, dear, as your mama. Now scurry along. Your friends are waiting for you, aren't they? Sid's shoulders slumped in embarrassed defeat. He gave his mom a quick peck on the cheek before bolting out the door again. Wait a minute! How does Hamish know about the cooking? Was he spying on them? Oh, maybe that's what he did. He gave his mom a quick peck on the cheek before bolting out the door again. Thanks, Mom! I'll get you something nice for the festival. Hamish watched the exchange between the two with a quiet furrow in his brow. He sighed quietly before folding up his stack of parchment and tucking it into his pocket of his cloak. Thank you for the recipes, Mrs. Shrikewood, but I best get going. The day is young and there's much work to do. Oh, of course. Don't let an old bird like me keep you. Apologies, I do love to dote on my boy every chance I get. I'm sure you understand. Cole is probably utterly spoiled by you lot. Ilya let out a cheerful chirp. Hamish's jaw tightened as he forced a smile. Perhaps. Though I have to admit, Cole lacks the sweetness your boy seems to have. Oh, but I'm sure that it's just a small bump on the road. Cole seems like a good lad, and you a good father. He's bound to see the hard work you put into him eventually. That is very optimistic of you. Hamish cleared his throat and made his way towards the door. Though if you'll forgive me, I must take my leave. The wooden door of the tavern swung open and closed with a cold thud as Hamish left. Ilya watched the retreating back of the man for several moments before letting out a tired huff. Somebody really needs to grab all three of you by the ears and sit you down for a talk. And we're going to Town Square Plaza. Ooh! Cole let out a deafening sneeze as he stumbled through the crowded streets of the town square. Malice slid into his shoulder with a curious hiss.
Have you caught a cold? Puny mortal? You must see a healer immediately. It will not do to have my host die so pathetically.
Cole scowled and flicked the python on the nose. I'm fine. Someone's probably just talking shorts about me.
How in the world does a sneeze indicate such information?
You'll never know. It's an old dumb superstition.
But that makes no sense. It feels so Japanese. You mortals grow more confounding by the day.
Yeah, whatever. Ah! Cole sighed and stuffed the python back into his pocket, with Malice screaming in protest. He turned his gaze back toward the packed streets of town square. The palace had utterly transformed since yesterday. Food stalls lined the streets with festive decoration and colorful banners hanging from every wall. The delicious smell of fried snacks and festival sweets filled the air along with the laughs and chatters of children and tourists. Bars and street performers sang and danced with a jolly, laughing audience. Many faces in crowds felt unfamiliar. Most were likely travelers and adventurers who are visiting Axia for the Firefly Festival celebrations. And here they are, filling the streets like a horde of annoying tourists. Cole stomped his feet and glared at everyone in contempt like, who gave all the right to be so damn tall? I know that feeling! Everyone towered over him like giants, which made locating Artemi utterly impossible. And Knight had ran off like an overexcited puppy at the sight of the festival decorations, leaving Cole to drown in this miserable sea of tall people. So much for knights and their sense of duty. He yelped as someone accidentally stomped on his tail like, ah! Cole recoiled and hugged his tail close, desperately trying to push his way through the wall of bodies. Hey, watch it, you piece of shorts! The tail stomper didn't even hear him as he was swept along the crowd. Cole grumbled. This is why he hated traveling alone. Why the heck did Artemi have to scurry off so quickly?
Boss? You okay there?
A wave of relief washed over Cole at the sound of a familiar voice. He let out a triumphant yell and jump into Sid's arms with glee like, ah!
Oh, boss! What's going on?
Dude! Let me ride on your shoulders!
What?
Cole gripped his arms pleadingly. I've been stepped on at least a dozen times since I got here. A tall guy like you would never understand the struggle. Come on, man. Adventures are supposed to help those in need, right? I'm in need! I freaking hate crowds! Despite Cole's snark, Sid felt a sense of amused satisfaction fill his chest.
Oh, here, boss. I got you.
Oh, I mean...
Boss, I can feel the balls on my head.
Don't think about it too much.
But boss, it's growing.
I said don't think about it too much. Ah, that's much better. I can finally see! This is why it's nice to always have a tall, buff man on your payroll. Why can't you be here earlier? Sid couldn't help but chuckle at their ridiculous position. Cole's hands felt warm as a small hyena leaned atop his head and absent-mindedly caressed his ears.
Sorry, I was busy training with Clyde this morning, then I had to rush home to grab my coin purse. Funny thing, I ran into your dad while I was at Mom's tavern.
Cole's eyebrow perked up curiously. Papa was at Sparrow's roost?
Oh, I meant Hamish.
Hamish is not my dad. I mean, technically he is. He raised you. Basically, he's not your papa, but he's your daddy. The sharpness in Cole's voice was startling. Sid gulped and decided to drop the subject altogether.
Anyway, did I miss anything while I was away?
Not much. Artemi ran into the crowd like an idiot, and I've been searching for her since. A bitter twinge flashed across Sid's chest, but he swallowed it back down with a smile.
Well, this is her first festival after all. It's natural to be excited.
Knowing her, she's probably gonna get mugged or pickpocketed again. Maybe we should get one of those child leashes for her. Sid, did she forget that we have a job today? Cole grumbled as he peered into the flowing crowd. Artemi wasn't exactly tall. Finding her would be like picking a needle out of a bigger pile of needles. They needed to find her soon. The two of them didn't exactly have the status to butter up nobles without her.
Come on, boss, relax. Finding her shouldn't be too hard.
I've been looking and shouting for her for the last 20 minutes. I'd like to see you do better.
Sure. Oh, hello, greetings, Sir Sid. Oh, hello, greetings, Sir Sid. Oh, hello, greetings, Sir Sid.
What are you doing, Sid?
Hey, watch this.
Oh, hello, greetings, Sir Sid. How can I...
Ah, please stop doing the...
Sir Sid, please!
Okay, you better stop it or I'm gonna hurt you. Hi.
How the frick... Cole! I've run into a terrible predicament. All the food and game stalls seem to require money, and I lack the funds to participate. Would you be so kind as to lend me a few copper pieces? What happened to that big bag of gold I gave you after the fighting ring fiasco? I told you, it is a holy knight's solemn duty to donate their earnings to the church. Artemi's wagging tail drooped with a hint of shame. I know I should be placing my efforts into the missing ruby investigation right now, but it would be a shame to ignore the festival while we're here. Okay, Sid, put her back.
Okay, boss. Artemi?
Oh, hello, greetings, Sir Sid. Look at all this delicious food. You know this isn't a vacation day. We got work to do. Oh, now you want to act all responsible and whatnot? Cole opened his mouth to retort, but was cut off by the sensation of something slithering up his shoulder.
Puny mortal! What are these heavenly scents that I detect?
Oh, that's probably all the fried street food. There's some roast potatoes and octopus in that stall over there. My dad's probably setting up these cheese stalls somewhere around here too.
Malice bolted up sharply. Cheese!
Mortals, I command you to sample each and every one of these delicacies. My journey to the material plane will not be complete without it.
The jousting and brawling tournament is in a few hours. We need to prepare. And I don't want to shove my way through this gosh darn crowd again.
The tiny snake's head whipped backwards with a melodramatic wail.
But the smell is so enticing. We must have a taste while we're here. Why must you be so cruel? Mortals must consume food to extend their already feeble lifespans, don't they?
I concur with Sir Noodle. We must be in top condition before we continue pursuing our objective. An empty stomach will not do.
I am a bit hungry.
Dude, you're supposed to be on my side.
I am, but Cole, I'm a big guy. I need a big meal. You're a small guy. Of course you can survive in tea. I'm just saying, this might be a good chance to mingle with the crowd and catch some gossip and news about the people we're going after. What do you say? 2 birds with 1 stone. And you can keep riding on my shoulders if you want. I mean,
Cole grumbled reluctantly. Keeping these idiots on track was proving more difficult than he expected. He didn't want to wrangle his way through the crowds again, but Artemi's puppy dog eyes were difficult to resist.
Alright, fine.
But make it quick, and don't get too distracted by the festival stuff. We need to actually keep an eye out for suspicious folks in the area. Now that their arms were stuffed with festival snacks and food, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area. It's like the game is telling them, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area or I'm gonna beat some booties. Where should they start? A couple arguing behind crystal structure, I guess?
Now move it 5 feet to the right! No, my right! Ugh, why is this city watch so goddamn useless? Excuse me! Show a little gratitude, you old hag! I didn't even need to help you in the first place!
Cole's ears perk up at the whining voice of a familiar coyote. He peered across the street at one of the many glowing crystals towards that line the cobblestone road. 2 figures were arguing furiously amongst themselves. West was huffing and puffing as usual while struggling to shove one of the crystals into position. Next to him, a short woman was tapping her foot in annoyance as she flexed her hand, sparkles of violet magic resonating with the glowing crystal. Oh, hi! You know, this could have been set up ages ago before the festival even started if the City Watch didn't swamp me with busy work and cut my funding.
We were understaffed! Setting up the festival was already a hassle, not to mention this fainting phenomenon that's been cropping up across the city. You're lucky to receive funding for or help in the first place.
The woman rolled her eyes behind her big round spectacles. With a wave of her hand, magic poured into the crystal and started its glow. She took a step back and admired her handiwork while wiping the sweat from her brow. Ah, yes! Thank you for allowing me to help you do your damn job. Why couldn't you just hire a few adventurers to help me set up all these crystal towers? West crossed his arms indignantly.
The City Watch don't consort with no adventurers! We're an independent and honorable bunch!
Don't you guys get chewed out by the church for jailing the chosen one yesterday? That was an honest mistake! It's not my fault she was consorted with morally corrupt folk like that gosh darn bonebreaker boy! Wes's eyes widen as he suddenly spotted Cole riding atop Sid's shoulders over the crowded streets. The coyote elbowed his colleague and jabbed an accusing finger at Cole. Didn't you say these crystals doohickeys were supposed to sound the alarm if there were suspicious folk in the area? Why is that darn hyena allowed to just walk around willy-nilly? The woman glanced towards Cole and his friends with an unimpressed look. That poor boy is just minding his own business and looking adorable atop his friend's shoulders. My spells are designed to detect actual threats, not your petty personal grievances. Oh, let me assure you, that hyena is a menace to society. Oh, there you are. Cole grinned and waved towards Wes enthusiastically. Oh, hey, Wes. Did you miss me? He was immediately met with a glare and a raised middle finger. Behind him, Artemi glanced between Cole and Wes with a curious frown.
Odd. What was that strange gesture that Sir Wes just made towards you? Oh, that was a hand gesture of greetingness. Do it. Come on, Artemi, you can do it. Both Sid and Cole sighed tiredly.
It's called flipping the bird, Artie. It means...
It's a sign of great respect towards someone.
Cole blinked and glanced up at Sid in shock. What? No, it's not.
Ah, I see. Thank you for explaining. I'll return the gesture. I always have such a hard time comprehending these strange idioms and gestures. Cole elbowed Sid.
Dude, you can't make jokes like that around Artemi. She's going to end up flipping off someone important.
Yep.
Cole stared at Sid for several... Ah, someone's jealous! Cole stared at Sid for several long moments before giving him an impressed nod. Wow, I didn't think you were capable of this kind of pettiness. Nice. She's absolutely going to kill us later, but nice. Not even a moment passed before Jamie enthusiastically thrusted their middle finger towards Wes from across the street with a grin. Wes immediately froze in flabbergasted, jogging. His colleague on the other hand almost fell over, cackling with glee. It appears you made a friend! What did I ever do to her? Well, besides throwing her in jail, I guess, but she did barrel through our storefront by the wagon. The woman's eyes widened and her gaze stepped towards Artemi with delight.
Wait, is that the creator's chosen?
She scurried across the street and grasped Artemi's hand in an uncomfortably tight handshake.
Oh, it's a pleasure to finally have a chance to meet you! I've read all about you and your kind in the Magistry's arcane records!
Artemi was taken aback but returned her handshake with a polite bow.
Ah, it's nice to meet you as well. Who are you? To whom do I have the honor? The name's Agatha Stoker! Agatha! It's been Agatha all along! Personal arcane researcher for the royal family.
The woman's face fell.
Well, former arcane researcher. Good old King Roderick got tired of me being correct all the time and fired me. Now I'm just a public safety enchanter whose job is to make sure the peasantry don't set themselves on fire. What? I'm not bitter or anything. Do I look bitter? It's not like I've been severely inconvenienced from being cut off from all my state-of-the-art research equipment and resources. Not at all. I love my new job.
Agatha let out a laugh that absolutely did not sound like she loved her new job. Now I spend my time installing safety features for festivals instead of researching life-changing science.
The glow up! Is that the purpose of these arcane crystals? Why, yes! These crystal towers are among my latest inventions. Each one of those babies are filled to the brim with various public safety spells. They detect nearby burglars and automatically set off an alarm spell in response. They function as street lights at night, and they even put out nearby fires that exceed regulated limits. My favorite feature is a spell that screams shameful insults if you urinate in public. My, that sounds very useful. I'm sure the city is grateful for your efforts.
Agatha sighed with a tired smile. Does it? Sure wish I could say the same for everyone. That knockoff cowboy over there is the worst co-worker I could ever ask for. All of this work could have been completed weeks ago. Wes gaped at her, utterly offended. I did all the heavy lifting and carried these blasted arcane crystals! The bat rolled her eyes and raised a hand to her ear. Huh? Do you hear that? What is that? Do you hear something? Shh! I don't know who that is. I think someone is being robbed down the street. What? I don't hear nothing. A shrill wail suddenly filled the air as an alarm spell was set off several blocks away. Ah, sounds like some random citizen is in desperate need of the city watch. Why did you go human them, Wes? Wes popped up his chest and immediately took a mad dash down the street. Ain't that troublemaker gonna cause mischief while I'm around? Phew! I'll show you what the city watch is made of! The group watched as Wes struggled against the flow of the dense crowd and eventually disappeared into the distance. Ugh, not very bright, is he? The woman adjusted her glasses and turned back towards Artemi and her friends with an overly polite smile. Ah, but enough rambling from me. So, Chosen One! Chosen One! I'm coming! Chosen One! Who are your companions? I hope everyone is enjoying the festivities. Ah, where are my manners? Allow me to introduce Cole Bonebreaker, the leader of the adventuring party I've joined recently. Hey! Cole squinted at Agatha suspiciously. Behind him, Sid waved awkwardly. Hi, I'm Sid. Yeah, don't care. Sid winced and dropped his wavering hand. The woman didn't even spare him a look before leaning forward and grasping Artemis' hand firmly. Listen, Artemis Gautier, could I humbly beg you for a small favor? As a royal arcane researcher, I specialize in advancing medical procedures and life-giving magic. And no magic is quite as potent as life-giving as celestial magic. Celestial magic for the creator's chosen herself, well, provide no end of breakthrough for my research. Agatha's glasses glinted with excitement. Artemi leaned back uncomfortably from the research's closeness. Could I trouble you to provide me with some samples of your magic when you have the time? It will help me continue much of my formal work. Think of all the lives you could help me save. Well, if I can assist such altruistic endeavors, I will be happy to help. It is my sworn duty as the creator's chosen to aid those in need. Agatha clapped her hands with a delighted laugh. Excellent! Oh, excellent indeed. I promise that you will not regret this. Why don't you meet me in my lab tomorrow morning? The researcher laughed and bounced on her feet like a giddy schoolgirl. On this day turned out much better than I expected. Wonderful, wonderful! My research will finally advance after all these years. Suck it, Roderick! Artemi, Cole, and Sid watched awkwardly as the older woman cackled blissfully to herself. I think this lady has a few screws loose. Artemi elbowed Cole with a scowl. Be nice, she may possess some of the information we seek. She cleared her throat loudly and turned back towards the giddy researcher. King Roderick. Did you know His Majesty well? What was he like? Oh, you know what people say. He was a decent king who advanced the proliferation of arcane crystals and medical technology, blah blah blah. He did wonders in funding arcane researchers such as myself. But behind closed doors, it was all an effort to save his wife. Agatha sighed. Poor Queen Tabitha. You know, I was in charge of finding a cure for her crippling condition. I was a good researcher, but I wasn't exactly a miracle worker. My methods managed to prolong her life for almost a decade, but eventually her health failed her. I can't blame Roderick for growing frustrated over my lack of progress, but did you really need to throw a tantrum and fire me? I was thrown out of the magistrate's research halls too. Ugh, such a waste. She adjusted her glasses and shook her head. Ah, there I go rambling again. I better get going and finish installing these crystal towers. Hope you youngsters enjoy the festival. Artemi, Cole, and Sid waved goodbye as the bat made her leave. As soon as she was out of earshot, Cole elbowed Artemi with a stern look. Jeez, you really shouldn't trust every poor sap you run into. That lady was like the perfect match of our suspect's description. Wizard, wimpy, and around 5'10" tall. Artemis scowled. That describes half the magical population in the city. Did you say that I should utilize my status as the chosen one to our advantage? Yeah, but just be careful, will you? I don't trust that lady at all. At all! Artemi crossed her arms stubbornly. I've worked with worse. Behind them, Sid scratched his head with a tired mumble. I'll just leave all the buttering up nobleman stuff to you two. I really don't have much to give here. Oh, wait 1 moment! The three of them jolted up, startled. Agatha dashed back towards them with the look of someone who had remembered something important. She leapt at Cole, pinching his cheeks and examining him closely. Ow! Hey, hands off! You! What did you say your name was again? Bonebreaker? Now, why does that sound so familiar? Her eyes widened and she took a step back. Ah, yes, I remember now. One of your fathers broke into my lab many years ago and stole some of my research. I could never prove to the authorities that it was him, but I just knew. This was many, many years ago. Cole rubbed his sore cheeks with a frown. That doesn't sound right. One of his fathers? As much as he hated to admit it, Hamish wasn't the type to get caught if he intended to steal something. What? That left only Papa, but he didn't have any interest in magical stuff. What did this mean? If I may ask, how old are you, young man? 23 years. What? You're 23? 23 years. Why? The researcher's eyes narrowed. 23 years exactly. Dawning realization washed over her face. She smiled and stared at Cole with fascination. How fascinating! Cole glared at her suspiciously. What kind of research are you accusing my papa of stealing? Agatha let out a quiet laugh and pressed a finger to her lips. It's classified, I'm afraid. However, might I interest you in volunteering for my research as well? I am certain we can learn much from each other. Cole fell quiet before slowly shaking his head. Hard pass. If I want to know, I'll just ask my papa. Agatha nodded politely and smiled. Ah, yes, Marrow Bonebreaker. And an infamously honest man. She bowed her head and proceeded to take her leave. Cole glared and watched her disappear back into the crowd. Boss? You okay? The plot thickens. That was kinda weird. Oh my god! I have a feeling that Cole is a test tube baby! It's a possibility. Cole shook his head warily. I really don't like that one. Now that their arms were stuffed with festival snacks and food, they better start searching for suspicious folk in the area. Where would they start? No, Town Square, okay. Oh! Ah, back here again. Finally, a crowdless street! Cole breathed a sigh of relief as he pushed his way into the spacious fountain plaza with a sizzling grilled meat kebab in each hand. Festivals were fun and all, but he preferred his toes untrampled. He had lost track of Sid and Artemi when he hopped off the badger's shoulders to buy some snacks from the food stalls. Just one blink and the crowd swallowed them up like a violent ocean wave. Cole sighed and sat on the edge of the fountain, munching his kebabs absent-mindedly. At least he had the chance to enjoy his food in peace. The three of them had agreed to meet up around the sporting arena for the jousting and brawl tournament later. Finding them again will be simple enough. He just hoped the two of them won't get scammed while he was gone. That is a possibility too. I mean, well, that is a possibility because Hamish has to steal or needs something to help with Quan with his condition before. Like, he can't be a barbarian. Cole blinked and glanced around the street. Soul's Arcane Curiosities was just a short walk away. Maybe he should pay Clyde a visit? He shook his head furiously. Nah, He probably doesn't want to see me again anyway. Better avoid making any more trouble than I already have. As he took another bite of his kebab, Cole absentmindedly rummaged around his pockets. Well, here's that second helping of snacks you begged for. You better be grateful, you little... Huh? Little? You there? No answer. Ah! Huh. The little shorts must have sneaked out while I wasn't looking. Oh well, one less problem for me to deal with. Cole munched on his food as he sat in the middle of the plaza. He became self-consciously aware of how awkward he appeared, sitting all by himself in the middle of a festival. His surroundings felt uncomfortably quiet. The sound of his own chewing was deafening as he shuffled awkwardly in his seat. He glanced around, unsure if anyone was watching him. Cole let out a long sigh. I really shouldn't be left alone with my thoughts like this. Where the frick did everyone go? He gnawed on the wooden stick in his kebab quietly. Could really use a distraction right about now. Ah! It appears my locate creature spell has found its mark. We meet at last. Stand up and face me, you traitorous and ungrateful scum. Okay, maybe not this kind of distraction. Cole thought bitterly as he squinted. Oh, hi! Who is this? A foppish young man was strutting a... Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, he does look kind of like Marrow. Look at the fur. Look at the eyes. A foppish young man was strutting across the plaza towards him. A striped hyena. Look about a year or two older than Cole. His clothes were shiny with expensive woven... Wait a minute! So like... Wait a... 23 siya. So he's 45 years old minus 23. 22? Really? His clothes were shiny with expensive woven fabric, and his hair appeared as though he spent hours combining it to perfection. This guy was clearly a noble, and around 5'10" too. No, he's not scrawny. And also has the most punchable face I've ever seen! Cole quietly noted. As the noble approached, his smug and punchable face fell when he caught sight of Cole. Wait! You're not... I was sure the spell was working correctly. He crossed his arms with an impatient huff. I should be looking at the dim-witted one-eyed brute instead of some unwashed peasant. Cole grumbled quietly to himself. Should he even bother talking to this guy? Might as well. Not like he's gonna got anyone else to chat with anyway. Who are you calling an unwashed peasant? The other hyena scoffed. Do you see any other naked scoundrels in rags around here? What kind of preposterous excuse for clothes are you wearing? Cole smirked and adjusted his seating position so that his legs were spread wider. I just have nothing to hide. Most folks like what they see. He stared up and down to other hyena with an unimpressed glance. I can see why you would bundle up with a bunch of expensive and frilly nonsense, though. Gotta distract folks from your shortcomings, eh? The noble clutched his chest, utterly offended. Excuse me, I will have you know that I'm quite the charmer amongst my peers. Oh, a noble who actually knows how to have fun? How scandalous. That's not what I mean. The noble crossed his arms and puffed up his chest indignantly. I do not have to answer to a lowly commoner like you. Do you have any idea who you're speaking to? No, but I have a pretty good idea of who you're looking for. What do you want with my papa? Papa? The noble's jaw dropped in a shocked gape. He had children? Yep. Kalodi Bonebreaker at your service. Cole bowed comically with his meat kebab still in his mouth. What can I do for you, Jokosh? The noble stared at him for several moments in disbelief. You don't look anything like this bonebreaker man that grandfather described. He's supposed to be this big, hulking barbarian, a beastly warrior who is an utter menace to society. You're just a measly runt. You sure you're truly his kin and not some stray he picked off the side of the street? Cole scowled. The words dug under his skin more than he cared to admit. Well, I definitely inherited the menace to society part. So who are you and what do you want with Marrow Bonebreaker? If you're one of those fanboys begging to be stepped on, Papa does fan meetups every other week. The noble wrinkled his nose at Cole as though he had smelled something foul. Ugh, I don't need to explain myself to the likes of you. Now tell me where I can find this Barrow bone breaker. And Cole's like, I'm not telling you, so boo-hoo. I was simply on my way to the jousting tournament when I found myself in these disgusting and lowly streets. It was a good chance to catch a glimpse of this uncivilized beast en route. Papa doesn't come out during the Firefly Festival. Pompous nobles like you give him an allergic reaction. Reaction is usually a punch to the face. Well then, he certainly lives up to his barbaric reputation. Cole crossed his arms defensively. Yes! His reputation of being a strong yet kind warrior to his fellow man. Restorer of communities and destroyer of the greedy. I'm pretty sure you've got no right to talk down to him, you pompous little shorts! What have you ever done? The noble scoffed and brushed his hair dramatically. You mean you don't know who I am? Surely you jest. I am the great Calder O'Shanassy, a sole heir to the renowned house of Shanassy. Man, that is the sissiest name I've ever heard. Shanassy. My house is Calder. My house is known across the land for their great magical prowess. My grandfather has assisted the late King Roderick himself in countless arcane projects and research efforts. My late uncle has worked closely with the church and became an utter prodigy amongst his magical peers. You will do well to respect your betters, commoner. Cole squinted, unimpressed as the other hyena rambled on his face. Wowee, what an accomplished family. So what have you done? The noble froze. A taunting smirk spread across Cole's face. You've got nothing, do you? If you had anything worth mentioning, you would have prattled on about it by now. I will have you know I have plenty of accomplishments to my name. Okay, what is it? An unwashed peasant like you would understand. No, I think I get it. An accomplished noble arcanist wouldn't be sent to commoner streets like this. You wouldn't even be attending the jousting tournament. You'd be invited to a big fancy party in the noble district right now. But you weren't worth inviting, eh? Calder winced and took a step backwards. What an accomplished family you've got. Must be a lot of pressure to live up to their magical deeds. But you weren't good enough, were you? So now you're off to the jousting tournament to make a name for yourself. Maybe if you win, you'll finally have something worth bragging about. Do I have the gist of it? Calder gaped at him for several long moments before clearing his throat. He adjusted his collar distractedly. What a wild imagination you have, commoner! You must think yourself clever. Cole shrugged. Not really. Just warning you, buddy. Going around calling folks unwashed commoners might make you feel a little better, but it sure ain't gonna win you any friends. Cole wolfed down the last of his kebab with a sly grin. Say, word on the street is that a bunch of magical rubies went missing. Rubies that could provide a mage desperate for strength and status with some much needed power. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, wouldn't you? The other hyena's ears perk up with interest before quickly lowering with caution. I have no need for such trinkets. Any accomplishments I achieve will be gained by my own power. Cole watched the noble closely. His reactions don't appear to be of recognition or an attempt to hide anything. This guy didn't have the best poker face anyhow. The chances of this Calder secretly being the cloaked mage seem unlikely, but Cole wouldn't say for sure. Think whatever you'd like, runt. My magical prowess at its worst will still be miles above you at your best. I'd sure hope so. I can't even do magic. Lies. The noble blinked in surprise. That can't be right! My arcane senses are keener than most! You must most certainly have traces of spellcasting on you. That brute may be an utter disappointment, but I commend the fact that he managed to sire a child with at least a tiny hint of magical potential. Creator knows he certainly didn't have the talent for it himself. Cole's hackles rose. Sounds like your senses aren't as good as you think. I have never casted a single spell in my life. His jaws tense as Calder leaned closer with curious frown. No,
You absolutely have the hallmarks of a spellcaster.
And I'm telling you that you're absolutely wrong. Calder glared at Cole with a mixture of confusion and disbelief. His voice shook with agitation. What a bold-faced lie! And reasonless one at that! Magical strength is the pillar upon which a peasant's worth is weighed. You're already a lowly peasant. Why do you deny yourself this tiny sliver of value? Yeah, maybe to nobles. Around here, we put more stock into how not an a-hole people are. Which I'm not winning any prizes for, but I'm still leagues ahead of you there, buddy. The other hyena growls and shakes his head in frustration. You don't even understand what you're saying, do you? Magic is everything! Some people devote their entire lives into arcane studies. Endless days and nights spent meticulously studying arcane tomes in hopes of gaining the smallest scrap of magical strength. The militant beratings and beatings we endure should we fail to meet expectations. And you, who was born with the potential for magic, so carelessly discarding your own gifts. This is an insult to everything my family and I stand for. Whatever then. Calder panted breathlessly, fangs bared with infuriated frustration. Didn't Calder hate talking to Cole? Now he wants to talk to Cole? Dude, make up your mind. Cole glared back at the other hyena coldly. He had certainly hit a sore spot. I don't know what you're rambling about, but let me make this very clear. I am not a mage. Capiche? Calder growled, his shoulders shaking with sheer rage and disbelief. That man has truly poisoned your mind, hasn't he? Just because he was a failure of a mage doesn't mean he has to drag the rest of us down with him. There's not a problem, is there? The two of them suddenly jumped. Oh, it's Hamish! Hamish was standing behind Cole, arms crossed with a stern expression. Calder suddenly looked terrified. You! As I said, is there a problem? The noble took several steps back. All that aggressive rage instantly evaporated to nervous fear. No! None whatsoever! Why would I even waste my time quarreling with you low-born folk? And what makes you think you have the right to even speak with me? Hamish continued staring flatly at the flustered noble. There's a bruise on your cheek. Where is it from? Calder's hand leapt to his face with surprise. That's none of your business! I've wasted enough time here with you lot. I'll be taking my leave. Hamish nodded and bowed curtly. Very well. Please give Gaius O'Shanassy my warmest regards. Calder looked shocked and hesitated for a moment. After a beat, he quickly fled the plaza without another word. Cole watched the whole exchange with a raised brow. What was that all about? Hamish shrugged. Not much. Just figured I'd step in before you bit off more than you could chew. I can handle it myself just fine. Of course you can. Wait, sorry, what was that? Of course you can. I just wanted to be nosy. Cole stuck his tongue out. You're always nosy. And speaking of being nosy, how do you know this ore's hole? Hamish stole a quick glance across the plaza at Calder's retreating figure. Well, I don't know this young man specifically, but I did work for his family for some time in my youth. You did? You don't seem like the type who'd make nice with nobles. Hamish smirked. Make nice? The last time I saw Gaius O'Shanassy, the man was screaming with an arrow sticking out of his shoulder. Marrow is not the only one around here with an allergic reaction to nobles. What? You're looking at me funny. Nothing. I just realized that I don't really know much about you. Hamish shrugged. You never asked. Cole scratched his neck and stared at his feet awkwardly. Yeah, I guess not. He cleared his throat loudly. Anyway, what are you doing out here in the Firefly Festival? You never seem like the celebrating type.
I've been tailing you.
What? Why?
Hamish shot at Cole's stern look. The cloaked mage obviously knows you possess one of the missing rubies. If they catch sight of you out in public like this, they might make a move to take it back.
You've been using me as bait?
You made yourself into a piece of bait. Dad joke. I'm merely here to make sure you don't get snatched. Speaking of which, you really shouldn't be traveling alone like this.
Oh please, nobody's going to make a move on me in broad daylight in the middle of a crowded festival?
Hamish shook his head firmly. You'd be surprised what people can pull off. Especially if this mage is as strong as you claimed. Just promise me that you'll stay with your friends whenever possible. It'll make me worry a little less. Speaking of which, the elder hyena rummaged through the many pockets of his cloak like... Ooh, string wire. After a beat, he pulled out a small spool of metallic wire and handed it to Cole. Here, I figured you should have this. Cole squinted at the spool of wire suspiciously.
If you're trying to drag me into one of your fishing trips again.
No. It's a trap wire made of pure aetherite. It's a metal that conducts magic and spells very efficiently. Since you're not exactly an offensive spellcaster, you might find this kind of subterfuge tool useful. Wait a minute! Since you're not exactly an offensive spellcaster, he knows! Hamish knows! Cole glared between Hamish and the pool. He reluctantly stuffed it into his pockets. Hamish knows!
You never stop being a mother hen, do you? Well, thanks, I guess.
Hamish blinked in surprise. Is that gratitude? Who are you and what did you do to Cole? I don't think I've ever heard you thank me unsarcastically. Cole puffed up his chest indignantly.
Oh, this is what I get for being nice for once? Don't expect it again anytime soon.
With a huff, he stomped his way down the plaza. Hey, where are you going?
To find Artemia and Sid. I'd rather not have you telling me all day. Go be a mother hen somewhere else.
Hamish stared at Cole's retreating figure with an incredulous look. He actually listened for once. I mean, his attitude's still as foul as ever, but he listened. Marrow, what kind of talk did you give him?
Now that their arms were stuffed with physical second food, they better were suspicious folk in the area. Need some time alone, okay?
What? You already have some time alone. Oh, Sid! Sid wants to think that he was just absent-mindedly browsing the festival stalls and lost sense of direction. He wasn't deliberately distancing himself from Artemia as they struggled to push through the crowd. That would be petty. Sid never thought of himself as a jealous kind of guy, but the begrudging resentment that raked through his chest while Artemia was around proved otherwise. He didn't want to feel that way, but the sensation bubbled up inside him like an intrusive thought. Sid sighed and glanced at the crowd behind him. Artemia was nowhere in sight. She probably got swept away by the festive masses as she was struggling to find him. I'll just look for her later. I could use some space right now.
What in the world are you doing?
Ah, great, fantastic. Now he has 2 black snakes in his pants.
Sid jumped at the sensation of something slithering up his arm.
You said earlier that you were getting more food. Why are you just stumbling about like a fool?
Oh, hey Noodle. What are you doing here?
My name is Malice. Curse this horrid nickname. And I sensed that my puny mortal was going on another one of his moping sessions, so I decided to accompany you instead. Little did I know that you would be doing the same thing. Mortals are so determined to waste what little time they have in their lives. I will never understand it.
Noodle shook his head in dismay as he coiled himself comfortably on Sid's shoulders.
So, what ails you, buff mortal? Are you struggling with daddy issues as well?
Huh? No, I'm fine. Just needed some space, you know? Sid watched with fascination as the snake flicked his tongue towards him suspiciously.
Lies! I have studied mortal emotions with my siblings for some time, and I sense great turmoil within you.
Really? Are you like an emotional support familiar?
Support? Pfft, don't be ridiculous. I exist to seed chaos and turmoil into the material plane. Why would I waste my time helping your inconsequential mortals with your petty thoughts?
Huh. Must be some sort of reverse psychology tactic.
For example, I sense great envy broiling within you. Surely you have attempted to unleash it upon that night friend of yours? What right does she have to be so effortlessly better than you in every way?
Unleash my... Huh? Dude, Artemis is like the most humble person on the side of the earth.
Exactly! Look at her, flaunting her humility while you're struggling with your own self-worth.
I don't think you understand what humility means. Sid couldn't help but smile at the python's furious hissing. You're right though. I've been feeling a little useless lately. But it's more of a me problem. It wouldn't be right to take it out on Artemi.
I disagree wholeheartedly. Clearly your knight friend is flaunting her accomplishments at you out of malice. What else could it be? She's sharing her excitement with her friends because she's happy? Unlikely. Your awful emotions won't just go away on their own. You must take action.
Sid chuckled and absent-mindedly began scratching Malice's chin.
Get your hands off of me, you horrid... Ooh. On second thought, chin scratches feel most satisfactory. Yes. Please, more. More. Yes. Continue, mortal. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably need to do something about this whole jealousy thing. Clyde mentioned that I should focus on myself. I was hoping this would all go away once I do well in the brawling tournament later. Even if I don't win, I can at least prove that I can hold my own in a fight. The end goal is to be a contributing member of this adventuring party, right? Artemis isn't the enemy. Sid smiled and patted the snake on his tiny head. Thanks, Noodle. You give great advice. I can see why Cole keeps you around.
Because I miss Black Snake in his pants.
What?
Nothing. Wait! That is the opposite of what I was going for! Stop! Feel bad!
The two of them jumped with a start. A sudden outcry of yelling along with the arcane wail of an alarm spell snapped them out of their conversation. What was that?
Sounds like trouble. I'll go ahead and take my leave.
Noodle grunted as he slithered down Sid's back!
Oh, why are your pockets so damn tight? My puny mortals' pockets are comfortably spacious compared to this disgrace.
Sorry, all my pants are kinda tight. There's not a lot of stuff in my size.
Oof! Ah, hello.
Mister, please! That man just started going crazy and attacked me!
Where? Don't worry, little guy. You're safe with... Wait a minute! Huh? You're that kid who stole our stuff and got us arrested!
Hey, that's all in the past, mister. I'm a changed man now.
A massive man. Oh, hi! Hello, mister. Who are you? Who are you? You look... Yeah, you look cute. A massive man armed with two short swords suddenly barged through the crowd. He utterly fuming as he huffed breathlessly in their direction.
That little farger stole all my gold! Hand him over so I can beat some sense to that penny-pinching little shorts.
Starting now?
Kid, you can't keep stealing people's stuff like this. You're gonna get hurt one of these days. Like right now.
Yeah, like right now. You're not gonna let that big scary shark beat me up, are you? I promise be a good from now on.
The other man stomped his foot furiously.
First off, I'm a freaking orca. Don't compare me to those dead-eyed, guilt-breathing chums. More importantly,
the foul-mouthed man jabbed an accusatory finger at the urchin cowering behind Sid.
Don't believe a word from that lying little lubber. He came at me with the same sweet and innocent act. Oh, me mom is sick and I need a few copper to buy medicine. And then he swiped my wallet the moment I looked away.
Well, like little urchins like me have to make do to survive, right? Surely you'd understand.
Oh, I'll make damn sure you understand. Nothing like sleeping with the fishes to teach a man a hard lesson.
Sid glanced between the quivering young boy. You know, the orca looks like he can woo. Sid glanced between the shivering young boy and fuming orca with a sigh. Alright, how about you hand the man his wallet back and then we'll hand you over to the city watch, hmm? You did trip the alarm spell on one of those crystals. Wes should be rushing over any minute. He should be able to set you up with folks that could help. Hey! Hey! The moment Sid took his eyes off of him, the urchin's hands darted into his pockets. And then... Snake! Before he could even blink, Emil was dashing down the street with a triumphant sneer. Ha! You suckers always fall for the same trick. What? My coin... Oh, never mind. My coin purse!
I told you! I freaking told you, didn't I? Come back here, you little frick! There ain't gonna be nothing left once I'm through with you.
Wait up! Emil dove past the ankles of the crowded streets with a satisfied giggle. The festival season was the perfect pickpocketing season. With so many people around, his pursuers were slowed down and tangled in the crowded streets. Easy money, easy getaway. Now then, what have we got here? A nice fat coin purse. It should satisfy those vultures for now. And what else? Huh? What's this supposed to be? Ah! What is this supposed to be? A black robe?
Unhand me, filthy tiny mortal! Who gave you the right to even think of laying your hands on an eldritch being such as I? Ah!
Emil yelped and reflexively hurled the python across the street. Ah! Snake! Who the hell keeps a snake in their pocket? Is this a new fad that rich blokes are doing to scare off pickpocketers? I gotta be careful next time. The crowd suddenly parted as the towering orca from earlier barreled towards him.
I've got you now, you flitchy little thief! Now hand over my wallet. I ain't above throwing hands with a kid.
Emil sneered with a foolish fearlessness only a young teenager could possess. Try harder, old man. The orca snarled and reached for his twin short swords, but not before Emil leaped forward and tossed a handful of sand into his eyes. Ah, he's playing dirty! He snickers gleefully as the older man stumbled backwards, rubbing his eyes with a painful yell. You big folk always fall for the same tricks. I'll see you around. Come back when you've got more money to hand over to me. By the time the orca blinked the sand from his eyes, Emil was long gone. He growled and stomped his feet furiously.
That little shorts.
Hey, where did that kid go?
He got away. I could have sunk my teeth into that fricker if you hadn't let him go. Short, you soft-hearted little guppy. Now we're both stuck with empty pockets. My crew is gonna be right pissed if I come home without fulfilling our shopping list.
Sid shrunk back. Sorry, I just didn't think it was right to beat up a little kid. I mean, you haven't even drew a sword on him. The orca smirked and brain-dished one of his short swords. Odd, the blades were awfully petite in the hands of this massive man, even for short swords. If Sid had to guess, they were originally crafted for someone much smaller.
These babies are covered up with that protective wax that the festival committee are handing out to the brawling tournament fighters. The worst they do are a few bruises. And trust me, that little shorts deserve worse!
The orca peered Sid up and down in an appraising manner. He took particular interest in the lanius at his hip, shrunk into its smaller axe form.
The name's Rainier.
Rainier. And I've got a proposition.
It's proposition for you. And you can't say no because you just lost me all my gold.
Sid gulped as the man flashed a toothy grin.
You seem like strapping young lad. You joined the brawl today as well?
Yeah?
Excellent! Listen, here's what we're gonna do. That brawling tournament's got a hefty cash prize, yeah? Well, the two of us are gonna team up, wipe the floor with every landlubber that stands in our way, and earn our money back.
Ah, let me guess, Rainier. You're gonna backstab him at the last minute, huh?
Problem solved.
Is that even allowed?
The orca sighed. Just cause the tournament's a free-for-all doesn't mean nobody's gonna team up. It's just a sound strategy, yeah? I'm doing you a favor here, little fish. Every year, the more experienced folks coordinated together and kick the absolute shorts out of the newcomers. You will be eaten alive if you entered that tournament alone.
Rainier grinned and thumped his chest proudly.
Lucky for you, the famed captain of the Steam Irontail will have your back.
Iron Tail? As in the pirate ship? Wait, are you a pirate? The orca scratches his nose with feigned bashfulness.
Officially. We're just another hired security vessel on the high seas. Some over-imaginative bard may have sang songs about our more unofficial deeds, though. It's all unconfirmed, I tell you. My ship runs a legit business.
Sid took a step back nervously. I don't know. Mom's gonna be real disappointed if she finds out I'm working with pirates. It's a pretty bad look.
You ain't got no choice, lad. You lost me all my shopping money. What am I supposed to tell my crew now that we ain't got gold to restock the brandy supplies? You really want a crew of cranky, sober sailors on your butt, boy?
No.
I didn't think so. So hold your butt over to the brawling tournament and get ready to fight for your life. What's your name, lad?
I'm Sid.
Sid, huh? We'll get ready for the next two co-winner of this year's brawling tournament. If not, you're gonna end up mopping the deck on my ship till you pay off your debt, got it?
Wait, don't I get any say in this?
Nope, not at all. See you at the tournament, kid.
Sid gaped in bewilderment. I really need to stop getting roped into horrible situations.
By the way! That flinching short dropped this weird screaming worm in the street earlier. Is it yours? Unhand me, you horrid creature! I will not stand for this indignation!
A noodle! I completely forgot about you.
A small python balled into Sid's shoulder, trembling with trepidation.
I have been trampled on and abandoned like some unwanted house pet. This is truly the worst day of my immortal life. I just wanted to huddle back to my puny mortal's comfy, spacious pockets.
Sid smiled apologetically as he scratched Noodle's chin.
Oh, don't worry, little guy. We'll get you back to Cole in a bit.
He turned towards Rainier apprehensively.
Thanks for returning, little guy. I guess I'll see you at the tournament then. Sorry if I end up weighing you down.
Rainier smirked.
Worry not. I'm certain I have the strength to make up for all your shortcomings. After we win, I'll be sure to buy you a drink. Despite this old mess, it's always nice to meet a cute lad like yourself, eh?
He's gay too. Thank goodness.
Huh?
Sid's face flushed with heat as the orca winked at him. He had hardly processed his words before Rainier fled into the crowd with a toothy grin. Sir Sid, there you are! I've been looking all over for you. Artemi waded through the packed streets and frowned at him. Sir Sid, are you alright? You look very tired, very red, sorry. Sid's mind was scrambling as he struggled to compose himself.
First Cole, then Clyde, and now this pirate guy? Why are all these men flirting with me?
Malice poked his head out from Sid's pocket. I am not gonna say a word. I'm just saying that he has a red-eyed black snake in his pockets.
Have you considered the possibility that you're an attractive young mortal?
Sid's face flushed a bright shade of pink.
That can't be it. Alright, Artemi.
The knight frowned awkwardly. I'm afraid I'm not much help here. Sorry. Perhaps it is due to my isolated upbringing, but I do not fully comprehend that what qualities make an attractive man.
Right. Of course you don't.
Artemi suddenly beamed gleefully. Wait a moment! Wait a moment! I've read a book about this exact situation recently. Oh no! Is it about the thing you read in the library? I believe you are forming what is known as a harem! He's the male protagonist with a lot of lovers. Sid nearly choked on his own spit.
What? What kind of books are you reading?
Yes, this is exactly as the novels described. Artemi nodded sagely. You must remain vigilant, Sir Sid, for your group of enthralled suitors will soon develop what is called a love triangle. I think now they have a love square. You will have to contend with bouts of jealousy and internal strife amongst your love interests. Most of these issues are easily resolved through a clear communication and an ounce of maturity, but you will frustratingly fail at both. The heat flooding Sid's face slowly dissipated as the ridiculousness of the situation took hold.
I don't think I'm the protagonist of some trashy romance novel, Artemi.
Except for this! Except for this! Artemis spluttered and clutched her chest hurtfully. Oh, trash? You call this thing trash? It is literature, Sir Sid. The narrative is utterly captivating, and plenty of people enjoy this genre for the plot. For the plot. Why, in one afternoon alone, I have read through 4 of the books in the series. I mean, Sid's jaw tightened and he found himself straining a smile like, 4 whole books, huh? You sure read fast. Oh yes, it's one of my few hobbies I have time for between my training regiment. I'm currently scouring the city for the 5th book of the series, but it's nowhere to be found. It is confoundingly absent from Sir Marrow's collections and the public library. Artemis sighed woefully. The suspense for the next story arc is almost unbearable. Where's Cole? We're supposed to meet up and get ready for the tournament, weren't we? Sid instantly felt bad as he cut off Artemis' excited rambling. The knight looked crestfallen for a moment before quickly shaking it off. Cole is undoubtedly attempting to seduce one of the adventuring tourists right now. I should go grab him. Sounds good. I'll be with you guys in a bit. Oh no. Self-doubt na naman. The moment Artemis left, Sid hung his head low with a sigh. I got snippy with her again. I didn't think this would bother me so much. Ah! So wait, we're just gonna leave the kid alone? Can't we beat his butt? Town square, sporting area. After a bit of crowd shuffling and a one-sided tearful reunion between Malice and Cole, the gang managed to reunite in time for the festival's opening ceremony. The sporting arena was already flooded with excited visitors and locals squeezing into the viewing booths by the time they arrived. Festival organizers were rushing across the field to set up for the jousting tournament, while others were hastily handing out vials of protective wax to the brawling participants. The nobility were comfortably seated in one of the viewing towers and attended by flocks of servants. Artemis gawked at the grand arena with fascination. Such a massive space for spectating entertainment. There was never anything like this back in the church district. Finding seats will prove difficult. Behind her, Cole was complaining loudly as usual. I can't see shorts! Sid, carry me again. People keep stepping on my tail. Right, I got you, boss. Artemis poked her head into one of the viewing booths with a delighted grin. Ah, there are empty seats here. Cole groaned in relief as Sid carried him into the cool shade of the booth. The scorching sun beat down on the arena with such intensity that wisps of heat were visible in the air. It was great luck that they managed to find seats minutes before the opening ceremony. The 3 of them wiped the sweat off their brow and settled into their booth. It took them a solid minute to realize that they were not alone, and that booth smelled strongly of delicious garlic cheese bread. It's Sid's father! Oh god, it's Agatha! Oh, hey, kids! From the back of the viewing booth, Agatha, the former arcane researcher, beamed and waved a cheese-covered hand at them. She tried to greet them, though, a mouthful of the most ludicrously large garlic breadstick they have ever seen. Mrs. Agatha? You could just call her Miss. Mrs. Agatha? Are you here to watch the tournament as well? Aren't you supposed to be working right now? And I thought vampires were allergic to garlic? Agatha scowled and continued wolfing down her basket of bread. First off, not all bats are vampires, you uncultured heathen. Secondly, I'm on my lunch break. The organizers complained that my security crystals were too much of an eyesore and forced me to move them all before the event. Can you believe it? It should be illegal to work on an old lady to the bone like this. Cole squinted at her undoubtedly. Isn't Wes the one who carries all the crystals? Yeah, and I watched him carry all the crystals. It was exhausting. Alas, I am a public safety enchanter. This is a burden I must carry. Fancy seeing you all again, though. You here to watch the tournaments? We're participating, actually. Ah, I see. Agatha sighed and munched down on another slice of cheesy bread as she peered out into the crowd. There was an awful lot of parents bringing their kids to watch contenders beat each other to death. to a deathman to death. Which other to death. Not sure why the festival organizers don't put an age limit on these kind of events. I surely wouldn't bring a child here. My papa brought me to illegal fighting rings all the time as a kid. Nothing quite gets my blood pumping like cheering him on and as he wipes the floor with a dozen fighters in a row. Agatha glanced up towards Cole with interest. Ah, how gruesome. Though I suppose it'd make for a decent father-son bonding activity. Such unorthodox parenting. At least Marrow Bonebreaker knows how to keep his kid entertained. Coles popped up his chest proudly. Hey, say what you want about my papa, but no one can deny that he's a great father. There was a strange, satisfied glint in Agatha's eye, and she studied Cole. A soft smile spread across her face. Yes, that is a fact I am relieved to learn. It's nice to know that there are still good parents in this hectic world these days. Artemi perked up with interest. Do you have children yourself, Mrs. Agatha? The bat immediately stiffened. She wore a pained expression as she glanced towards one of the tail viewing towers. Her voice cracked as she spoke loudly. Look! Look! The opening ceremony is about to start! I hear the Royal Prince is going to make his first public appearance today! I wonder what kind of speech he'll make. Agatha scooted towards the back of the viewing booth, clearly attempting to avoid conversation. The three of them watched her retreat awkwardly. Cole elbowed Artemi with a hiss. Dude, don't just ask people if they have kids. What? I was just curious. Okay, but that kind of question only ends three ways. First and best scenario, they just have give you a simple no. Second, they're like Mrs. Shrikewood and you have to listen to them ramble about their kid for hours and hours. No offense, Sid. Sid shrugged.
Nah, you're right. It's kind of embarrassing.
Last and worst case, they tell you had or couldn't have kids. Either way, it's none of your business. Artemi gasped a little too loudly.
Oh, are you saying her child has passed away?
In the back of the viewing booth, Agatha suddenly began munching on her bread very loudly. Cole glanced towards her and caught sight of a small flash of magic. He was pretty sure that the enchanter had just cast Deafen on herself. Hey Artie, remember this morning when we talked about acting tactfully? This ain't it.
I was just taken by surprise.
She bowed apologetically towards Agatha.
My sincerest apologies. I meant no offense.
The enchanter was busy slurping up a string of cheese and made no reaction towards Artemi's plea. It was obviously, she was avoiding eye contact. Artemi shuffled back to the corner of the viewing booth and slumped over ashamed.
Perhaps I'm not suited for delicate social situations. Her Excellency was right. I should have just stayed at the cathedral.
Sid smiled sympathetically and patted her head.
Hey, it's only your third day out of the church district. There's no shame in stumbling a bit.
Well, what's done is done. Let's just sit through this and wait for the opening ceremony to start. A loud announcer's voice suddenly blared from one of the viewing towers.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen! We are sorry to say that the opening ceremony will be briefly delayed. Some hooligans have been urinating on all of the public safety crystals and setting off the alarms. The festival will continue. Okay. It'll continue as planned as soon as we figure out who to hope to turn off all the screaming sirens in the streets. If Arcanist Agatha Stoker is present, please come forward as your assistant is required. Two of them awkwardly glanced back at Agatha. The bat was happily slurping down mozzarella sticks and clearly didn't hear a word through her deafen spell. Shouldn't we let her know?
Nah, I kind of rooting for the public being guy, honestly.
What? That's utterly irresponsible.
If you care so much, why don't you tell her?
Well, I've clearly offended her deeply. I wouldn't want to be the bearer of bad news as well. So Sid, would you be willing to... Nope. She clearly doesn't want to talk to little old peasants like me.
Wow, everyone's so petty today. I like it. Beats hanging out with a bunch of goody two-shoes all the time. Artemi stared at her companions in disbelief.
You are all insufferable!
Artemi's efforts to remain quiet proved more difficult than expected. There was a deafening awkward silence in the viewing booth as the three of them impatiently waiting for the opening ceremony to start while ignoring the uncomfortable Agatha in the other corner. The public safety enchanter clearly did not want to talk to them again for the time being. Things were made worse when a festival speaker announced that the opening ceremony would be further delayed. Apparently, the prince had taken one look at the massive crowd he would be speaking to and had a nervous breakdown. And thus, they were forced to wait quietly for the longest minutes of their lives. Thankfully, or perhaps unfortunately, their silence was broken by a familiar face poking his head into the booth. Oh, it's him again. Ah, free seats! Move aside and make room. You should be honored to share space with a member of the nobility. The moment Calder and Cole caught sight of each other, the two instantly scrunched up their faces as though they had caught a whiff of foul odor. Ugh, bone breaker boy. Of course my accursed luck would strand me in a booth with the likes of you.
What's the matter, pretty boy? Shouldn't you be in the viewing tower with the rest of the fancy nobles?
Cole sneered.
Oh wait, not important enough to join the club, eh?
Calder spluttered furiously before clumsily composing himself. I shan't even grace you with an answer. You are far too beneath us to even comprehend the complexities of noble society. Sid and Artemi exchanged alarmed looks. Hey, let's stay civil now. I concur. Let us take this chance to start off on better footing. Who is your new friend, Cole? The older hyena brushed his hair out of his eyes in a dramatic and unintentionally comedic fashion. Oh, you commoners should really educate yourselves on the noble families that preside over your puny lives. I am Calder O'Shaughnessy, sole heir to House O'Shaughnessy and Arcanist extraordinaire. You may prefer to me as Sir O'Shaughnessy or Milord, either will do. Artemi's ear twitched at the mention of House O'Shaughnessy. She glanced at her two companions with a furrowed brow. Is this some opportunity to get chummy with the nobles like you advised? Our ultimate goal for today is to establish noble allies, after all. I don't know, man. This guy is a lot. Cole shrugged.
I don't think this guy is our cloaked mage, but he might know some useful people. It's worth a shot. I'll be pretty useless here, though, since I fully pissed him off earlier today.
Ah, business as usual for you then. Artemi grinned teasingly. Cole shot her a bemused scowl. Behind them, Calder cleared his throat loudly. It is very rude to whisper amongst yourselves in the presence of others. Have your families failed to teach you the simplest of manners? Cole glared irritably.
Ah, how rude of me. Let me introduce you to my good friend Sid. And this little unimportant fella over here is Artemi Johanna Gautier for the church.
Calder's jaw dropped, his eyes widening to the size of dinner plates. Artemi Gautier? The greatest chosen, the daughter of the Grand Bishop of the church? Artemi bowed her head shyly. Indeed, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sir O'Shaughnessy. Sid made a face and mumbled bitterly. And I'm Sid Strikewood, unemployed, son of the innkeeper of the Sparrow's Roost Tavern.
You say that sarcastically, but I'd hang with you and your mom over that a-hole bishop any day.
Sid was taken aback, but gave his boss a grateful smile. I love their dynamic. You don't have to always baby me like this.
Nope, but I'm kinda trying this new thing where I pretend to be a decent person. Also, your mom guilt-tripped me into looking after you, so I'll do it.
Sid grimaced. If my mom was here, she'd be kicking this guy into the dirt at this point.
Mrs. Strikewood is a very wise woman. I'm honestly kinda considering it right now.
Behind them, Calder's attitude did a complete 180 as he eagerly shook Artemi's hand. It is an honor to finally meet you, dear chosen. Though I must say, it was a surprise to find you among such questionable company. Artemi wore a strained and reluctantly polite smile. Cole and Sir Sid are my dearest companions. There is no one else I would rather have at my side. Then you are truly as inexperienced as they say. Allow me to introduce you to some of my more noteworthy and reliable individuals. Myself, for instance, a studied and powerful wizard from the renowned O'Shaughnessy family would surely make a valuable ally. Not even a minute had passed, yet Artemi's smile was already strained like an overworked waiter struggling to remain cheerful for customers. She leaned back for Calder's advances, clearly uncomfortable. Ah, yes. Well, I will be sure to keep you in mind should I find need of you, my lord. Excellent, excellent. It seems my luck has finally turned. When grandfather hears that I have become acquainted with the creators chosen, he will certainly be most pleased. A sharp voice suddenly cut through the small space of their viewing booth. Is it Agatha? Ah, yes it is. Ah, Calder Shaughnessy. You are the heir to your little house? My, Gaius has become desperate. Calder whirled around, just now noticing Agatha's presence. Agatha Stoker. Ah! Agatha Stoker. Apparently, someone has been reading Bram Stoker's Dracula. Former researcher for the royal family. Your reputation precedes you. Agatha's gaze was sharp with a strange mixture of contempt and pity. As does yours. Or more precisely, your family's reputation. You'd be careful now, young man. I hear that being the heir to House O'Shaughnessy has a terribly high mortality rate. Calder stiffened and glared at the woman coldly. Whatever rumors you may have heard about my family are all unfounded lies. I pray you take your accusations elsewhere. Ha! I accuse nothing. Just amusing over the fact that Gaius O'Shaughnessy has sent his only underachieving grandson to a jousting tournament. And buttering up the creator's chosen, no less. The man has gotten creative in his search for ways to patch up his family honor. Calder crossed his arms defensively. I am here to uphold my family reputation, because it is my duty as its heir. There was no persuasion needed on grandfather's part. What a responsible young man. Which part of your family reputation do you intend to uphold, huh? It will be a shame if Gaius O'Shaughnessy finally runs out of family members to torment. Calder's expression closed up with a cold indignation. I think this conversation is over. Indeed, they were interrupted by a chorus of trumpets from the viewing towers. The grand fanfare of instruments was punctuated by a wave of applause as an announcer stepped forward on the stage. He spoke into a small arcane crystal charged with an amplify spell, his voice reverberating, clearing across the entire arena.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Lord Farquaad. I welcome you all to Axia's annual Firefly Festival.
Artemi craned her head to see the tall viewing tower. She noticed an uncharacteristically young woman sitting amongst the older nobility. The woman was hardly older than Artemi herself. For a moment, the two of them locked eyes. Oh, ooh, what is this? Cold intrigue flashed across the woman's face as she stared down at Artemi from the tower. Their attention was turned back towards the stage as the announcer continued speaking. What is this? What is this development?
This year, the city would like to give special thanks to House Osmania for their generous contributions and to organization efforts for the Firefly Festival. The passing of our late king and queen had left the city in a somber disarray. There would be no festival had the Honorable Lady of Osmia not stepped in. Hollering applause rang through the crowd. Oh hi, woman! Well, at least you're wearing a face mask for the occasion. The noblewoman stood up and gave the audience a polite curtsy before quickly returning to her seat. Artemi noticed that many of the nobility around the woman scoffed and side-eyed her with disdain, like The woman paid them no mind and merely nodded at the crowd with her head held high. And next, our very own Prince Cassius would like to have a few words with everyone. A round of more subdued applause echoed through the arena. Many people perked up with interest at this first public appearance of the prince. From the back of the viewing tower, a short, lanky young man stumbled forward and was clearly on the verge of hyperventilating. The young man shakingly took the stage with a nervous shudder. He glanced out at a handful of poorly concealed note cards before addressing the crowd. Oh! He's Mordecai! Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars?
Hello, everyone. Welcome all to the Firefly Festival. May our hearts stand strong in these trying times. While the passing of my dear mother and father has surely been a blow to the city, we shall rise above and prosper as they would have wished for us to.
Prince Catchy suddenly fumbled, his note card stumbling out of his reach and into the grassy field below like, my cards! Oh no! The peacock stood frozen, staring out the sea of faces, watching him expectantly like, ah! Even from the distance, Artemi could see the prince's breathing rapidly increased to a panic pace. In an instant, Prince Cassius let out a horrified squawk and bolted from the stage in complete fright. An awkward silence hung in the air as the crowd gaped at this craven display. Well then, this kingdom's future looks bright. Cole, be nice. His Highness was clearly scared senseless. We must be patient with the poor man until he adapts to his role. Lady Osmia suddenly stepped up to the stage and cleared her throat. Her every movement felt fluid with practiced grace. The noblewoman's quiet gaze drew the attention of her onlookers effortlessly. Greetings. I'm Maeve Osmia. In stark contrast of the prince stammering, Maev's voice flowed like soothed milk. As organizer of this year's Firefly Festival, I would like to thank the city and its people for this day of celebration. The first day of the festival is meant to celebrate the present moment. May the fire of competition fuel your spirits during your jousting and brawling tournaments. The victor of the brawl will be rewarded a generous prize in gold, while the victor of the joust will receive an honorable boon from House Osmia. As its heir, I will do my utmost to fulfill the victor's request. Lady Osmia nodded quietly, her gaze shifting into the nobles behind her. Lastly, I would like to thank my fellow nobles in welcoming House Osmia amongst your rank. There was a wave of snickers and upturned noses at her comment like Maeve continued as though she hadn't heard. House Osmia is still in its infancy and greatly appreciates your kindness. The nobility of Axia has shown us the most gracious hospitality. She paused. Her voice grew low. I hope to one day return the favor. She's evil! She's evil! She's evil! Evil! Diablo! As the speech ended, a polite round of applause swept through the crowds. All the members of the nobility fell into uncomfortable silence as Maeve Osmia quietly returned to her seat. As the festival organizers scrambled to prepare for the jousting tournament, Artemis stared up at the tower with fascination. Who exactly is this Lady Osmia? I had studied the many houses and lineages of the nobility during my training, but I've never heard of this house Osmia until recently. Calder cleared his throat loudly with a self-important grin. I believe I can enlighten you on the topic. House Osmia is a relatively new addition to the nobility, hailing from the uncivilized exterior farmlands outside the city walls. They specialize in druid craft and have grown rapidly since the disastrous locust famine many years ago. Calder sighed and shook it. Ah, isn't that already a clue? Druid craft. Nature. Golems? Remember the golems? Calder sighed and shook his head with a hint of disgust. Druidcraft is such a barbaric class of magic compared to Axia's trademark wizardry, but I suppose it does have its uses. Thanks to their techniques, the city was able to quickly recover from the famine. Osmia's farms now produce 70% of Axia's food and crops. Even the most prestigious of nobles would be hard-pressed to be in their good graces. I believe House Osmia decided to sponsor the Firefly Festival this year as a show of strength to all the other noble houses. Artemis stared up at Maeve's distant and serious face with wonder. She is the heir and leader to this growing house? Incredible! She is hardly older than I am. Calder scoffed. That is hardly a praiseworthy feat. I too am the heir of my house, and we're but a few years apart. And you can hardly call House Osmia a true house when she is the only member of it. I hear everyone else in her lineage had perished in the locust famine. Calder sighed and shook his head. Alas, as diminished as this young house is, they still hold a great amount of power. Grandfather has ordered me to consort with them and bring myself onto their good graces. Artemis' brow furrowed as she tried her best to hide her growing dislike of this man. And how will you set about doing that? By winning the jousting tournament, of course. Osmia will be obligated to bestow a boon upon the victor. I simply ask Lady Osmia for her hand in marriage. Artemis spluttered, utterly flabbergasted. What? Surely she would not be forced to accept such a request. Well, probably not. But she would be obliged to spend time with me as a suitor above all the other men clamoring for her attention. This will give me ample time to charm her into a partnership with House O'Shaughnessy. Artemis glared at Calder with a hard look. House O'Shaughnessy must be quite desperate for influence if they are resorting to such underhanded courtship tactics. And with the Druid family they look down upon, no less. Calder splattered fearlessly, clearly not expecting such a retort. House O'Shaughnessy is basking in wealth and power these days, I assure you! I can't order some grab food. Because it's the middle of... What time is it? 12 in the morning. We are simply networking in search of better allies and companions. Surely you would understand. I do not. Companions and allies should be earned through honesty and mutual trust, not through such unchivalrous schemes. Calder crossed his arms defensively as he glanced over at Cole and said, Oh, and what methods did you use to find those layabouts? Did you pick them up on the side of the street or something? Actually, we got thrown in jail together. And then we gambled in an illegal fighting ring together. And then we tore down the illegal fighting ring together. Okay, no, that's parts on you. Nobody else here could smite a building into a rubble. What? The greatest chosen can't be seen with people like you? Artemis glared at the older hyena coldly. I will take them over your dishonorable ilk any day. Something in Calder snapped at her words. He whipped his head towards Agatha desperately. You, enchanter! Surely you can see the ridiculousness of this situation. Oh, she's hanging up on the ceiling. What? Excuse me. You need something from me? I'm just eating breadsticks in a corner, man. Don't drag me into this. Calder tugged at his hair in frustration. He turned back towards Artemis furiously. I can take your rejection, but the fact that you would place those low-born scum over the likes of me is an insult I cannot stand for. He shot a venomous glare towards Cole and said, A filthy mage who denies his own gifts, and an utterly ordinary peasant void of talent and status? Don't make me laugh. Artemis gritted her teeth, her hand twitching towards her sword. I will thank you to not speak of my companions in such a way. I speak the truth. You are out of your mind if you think either of them are more worthy than I. Calder's frenzied gaze landed on Sid, who nervously took a step back. You are clearly the weak link of this group. What makes you think you have anything of worth to provide? Sid flinched. I don't? Oh no, it's a magic battle now. The nobleman's eyes suddenly flashed with a deep shade of arcane velvet. Sid's chest squirmed uncomfortably as he felt the glowing gaze pierce through him like knives. What do you think you're doing? Behind them, Cole instantly recognized a spell and bolted in front of Sid. But it was too late. The detect thought spell washed over Sid like an ice-cold wave. Let me see. Calder let out a cruel, triumphant laugh. He's illiterate? What an utter mess of a man as well! Oh, my dear chosen, where did you find this one? Sid felt his blood run cold. Calder's grin grew as he continued sifting through the badger's mind. Cole, do something. Yeah, Cole. Do something, please. Do something. Unemployed, fired from last dozens of jobs. Spends all this time daydreaming about becoming a hero he knows is capable of becoming while his parents toil at a thankless job. Oh, and he's adopted too. This just keeps getting better. Sid growled and took a menacing step forward. Calder didn't flinch. Shut your goddamn mouth. Oh, hush, you're too delicate to do anything to me. I can read your entire mind, and you agree with me. Calder cackled with delight. You have no idea why these two even keep you around. You've got nothing to contribute, and you're a narrow waste of their precious time. Oh, sweet Cole, you're so patient and supportive of you, taking you under his wing and teaching you to read. Something you should have learned ages ago if you were a functioning person. Panic shot through Sid's chest. He whipped around to see Cole staring at him, wide-eyed. Oh my god, Cole, do something! And dear old Timmy, what a perfect warrior, kind and humble and brimming with power. A true personification of the hero you dream of becoming. But you are just an ant standing beneath her. Dispel magic! Timmy lunged forward, fist still flashing with sparks of lightning. She roughly grabbed Calder by the collar and slammed him against the wall of the booth. The wood... What is this music? The wood buckled under the force of her blow as she growled with uncontrolled rage. You've gone too far, you despicable! Despite being lifted off his feet, Calder managed a grating grin. Oh, but don't you see? He hates you! Your beloved companion utterly despises you. Every time he sees you, his blood pours over with envy. He can't even stand to be in your presence anymore. This is the companion who you so gladly treasure. Timmy faltered. Oh, come on. Are you guys gonna take that? Psst. Not now. Spirit, whoever you are, not now. She looked towards Sid, shocked and wounded. But the moment they locked eyes and she saw the badger's utterly broken expression, she inhaled sharply and turned back towards Calder. Her fist plunged forward with a crack. A shower of splintered wood scattered across the viewing booth as Artemi sank a hole into the wall inches next to Calder's head. Artemi let out a deep breath. You are an utterly vile man, Calder Shaughnessy. Give me one reason why I shouldn't beat you senseless. Calder's brave face was shaken after nearly taking an armored fist to the skull, but he managed a confident sneer. Oh my, dear chosen, have you forgotten where you are? What would the church do when people found out that the Creator's chosen is an untamed brute who terrorizes the weak? Oh, the shame you would bring upon your dear bishop of a mother. Cole, do something, you worthless crap! Artemi froze and looked up. The entire arena was silent, all eyes trained on their little booth in the corner. Thousands of shocked spectators from commoners to nobles watched Artemi hastily retract her fist from the wooden wall of the booth like a child caught red-handed. She glared at Calder's smug face, voice dipping low. So this was your ploy? The noble shrugged with a smirk. What can I say? I do not take insults well. Anyone who crosses the house of Shaughnessy will be sure to pay the consequences. He laughed gleefully. So what will you do, my dear chosen? Our audience is starting to whisper and wonder about what is happening down here. I suppose you can continue beating on me. That'll do your reputation wonders. And if you retreat without a word, House of Shaughnessy can easily twist the inevitable rumors to our advantage. He tapped his chin thoughtfully. Though I suppose if you groveled at my feet and apologized... this type of person. I would be open to sparing you to the social scrutiny you will undoubtedly face. Artemi growled, gritting her teeth in frustration. This scum of a man deserves no such apology. She had half the mind to beat him into the dirt of his slight against Sid. However, she cannot deny that Calder was ultimately right about her situation. She cannot make a move against him without soiling hers and the church's reputation, and she was in hot water with her excellency to begin with. Her claim to the Creator's Chosen title would be forfeit, and she would likely drag the Knight Commander down with her. The logical course of action was to publicly apologize, but The sight of Calder's smug grin made her blood boil. Oh? Are you refusing to apologize? I suppose I should start crying out for help. The greatest chosen clearly has malevolent intention towards me. A helpless citizen! Fine! I apologize. A sharp snap of fingers suddenly... Finally! What took you so long? A sharp snap of fingers suddenly interrupted their exchange. Cole's voice reverberated throughout the entire stadium, its volume amplified through prestidigitation. Calder O'Shaughnessy! You have insulted the honor of both my underlings and committed a dire breach of privacy through a detect thought spell. As leader of this adventuring party, I cannot allow this insult to stand. I, Kalodi Bonebreaker, hereby challenge you to a public duel. Curious and excited murmurs instantly swept through the arena as onlookers watched their little group eagerly. Calder whipped around and stared at Cole in shock. Cole gave him an impressed look. Oh, he took off the guitar. What? You think Artemi's the only one with a reputation on the line? Your granddaddy won't be very happy to hear that you're involved in a public scandal and then lose to a commoner in a duel. What will people think of your precious O'Shaughnessy name then? You have some nerve. Took the words right out of my mouth, buddy. You violated my lackey's mind and then pinned my other lackey into social suicide. I ain't about to let that slide. Unlike you foppish nobles, we bonebreakers take care of our own. I will crush you! Calder faltered for a moment before sneering. Fine! I, Calder O'Shaughnessy, accept your challenge. You cannot hope to defeat me without using that magic you keep so poorly hidden. Say goodbye to your little secret. I, for one, will not be losing to a fraud. Cole's grip on his lute tightened. We'll see. The nobility and festival organizers peered down the scene below with bewilderment. Apologies, gentlemen. We cannot allow a duel in the middle of the Firefly Festival arena. Maiev Osmia suddenly stood up and waved her hand. And why not, pray tell? As I said earlier, the first day of the Firefly Festival is meant to celebrate the spirit of competition and rivalries with our fellow man. And what better rivalry than the heir of the noble house of Shaughnessy and the son of Axia's greatest mercenary warrior, I motion that we allow this public duel to commence. The festival announcer glanced nervously between Maiev and the members of nobility standing behind her. After a beat, he turned back towards the crowd. Very well! Ladies and gentlemen, as an appetizer to our main event, we will be hosting a public duel between Sirs Calder O'Shaughnessy and Kalodi Bonebreaker. We invite the two of you to take your place at the center of the arena. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Calder eagerly started towards the center of the stadium, already confident in his victory. Artemi and Sid exchanged anxious looks as Cole readied his lute. Cole, are you really intending to expose your magical abilities in this duel? Sir Marrow will surely hear about it. Do you really think you can win? Cole shrugged. Yeah, win or lose, everything works out for us in the end. The heat of the situation gets taken off of Artemi, and people won't be favorable towards Calder for the lousy stunt. More importantly, he turned towards Sid with concern. You doing okay, buddy? Me? I'm fine. It's nothing. Sorry I dragged us into another mess again. Despite his instances, Sid's stiff shoulders and clenched jaw betray his broken state of mind. Cole placed a firm hand on his shoulder. You did nothing wrong. We're in this mess because this Calder is an a-hole. After this short storm is done, we'll go to Mrs. Shrikewood's for some tea and we'll talk everything out. Sounds good? Sid nodded quietly. Oh, if you're gonna tell Shrikewood, she's gonna beat them up. Yeah. Cole pressed a firm hand to Sid's chest and leaned close. Listen, man. At the end of the day, you're my friend. I don't keep you around because of some pity party or sense of usefulness. I just genuinely like hanging out with you. And I'm generally better off for having known you. So keep your chin up, okay? Okay. Cole gave him one last reassuring nod before making his way towards the field. A low silence hung in their viewing booth as they watched him leave. After a beat, Artemi quietly sat down next to Sid with a gentle look.
Ah, you're not angry?
Why would I be angry?
All that stuff Calder said about my thoughts.
Artemi fell silent for a moment, pondering her next words carefully. Did I do something wrong? Sid curled up in the floor and buried his face with his knees.
No.
I see. Would it help if I left? Sid sucked in a deep breath of air.
No. I like having you around. I really do. You're my friend. I'm just a jealous freaking a-hole for feeling like this.
Do not apologize for your emotions, Sir Sid. You cannot simply disagree with a feeling. This is just a part of life, as the Knight Commander always says. Artemi shook her head with an incredulous laugh. She sat down on the floor next to Sid with a patient smile. Truly, though, I never imagined myself as someone worthy of such jealousy. Sid snapped up with a patronized glare.
You're the Creator's chosen. You were born with ridiculous power and the respect of everyone who knows your name. Common folk like me, well... Calder was right. I'm basically an ant next to you.
Quite ironic as you tower above me in physical height.
I'm being serious,
Artemi smiled. Perhaps the true irony is that you regard me as such a perfect individual. In my early years, the church considered me a defective chosen. Despite these stories about the Creator blessing me at childbirth, I possessed no such magical abilities as a child. Sid blinked with surprise.
That's not what people have been saying.
Yes, the church does have a certain image to uphold. But at the age where most chosen showed signs of great celestial power, I had next to nothing. The healers and arcanists at the church detected great potential within me, but I had nothing to show for it. I could barely even keep a candle alight. Her Excellency was most furious with me. Artemi grew quiet. The world needed a chosen one to face whatever threat comes its way, and I was not ready to fill the role. That crushing sensation of waking up every day knowing that you're not enough. I suppose I can relate. Some days it grew to the point where I debated whether it was worth waking up to. Sid's chest lurched.
I didn't think someone like you would have to deal with this kind of thing.
The knight let out a small chuckle. I thought the same of you. You have always struck me as such a kind and reliable man. And more honest than Cole, at the very least. Sid managed a small chuckle.
That's not a very high bar.
Sid gazed at Artemi, his chest heavy with confusing storm of emotions.
Hey, Artemi?
Yes?
If you don't mind me asking, how did you end up waking your powers? And dealing with that crushing feeling?
The knight fell silent. Oh, candle! After a moment, she gingerly reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny aged candle. It was rather short and thoroughly used. There were small impressions of the wax made by a small hand, as though a child had held it in a deadly tight grip. Upon a chosen's death, the blessing of the Creator's chosen passes on to the next worthy candidate, and thus, at the age of 15, I was given an ultimatum. Keep this candle alight through a winter storm for one whole night, and the church will deem me strong enough to nurture into the next chosen. Fail, and the power will pass on to someone more worthy than I. Sid felt. I thought that's not the case. Really? Sid felt his stomach drop.
What? They can't put that kind of pressure on a child?
It is prophesied that the world would succumb to great tragedy should the Creator's chosen fail their duty. Is the happiness of one child truly so high a price? A knight's duty is to her people. I was willing to do what must be done. Sid stared at the tiny candle in her hands with growing dread.
So you passed the test then? The church agreed to keep working with you?
Artemi rolled the candle in her hands thoughtfully. Can you keep a secret, Sir Sid?
What? Wait, you don't mean...
She laughed bitterly. I failed. The candle went out halfway through the night, and I was left to trod through a blizzard for the rest of my trial. I think at some point I simply gave up and waited for the frigid cold to take me.
How in the world did you survive?
A bittersweet smile spread across the face as she rubbed a gentle thumb over the worn wick of the candle. A very kind old man said he would miss me if I were gone. And I suppose I couldn't hear the thought of making him sad. And so I fought to stay, just a little longer. Artemi gently hid the candle back into her pocket. From that day forward, I held a deep anger within me. Anger towards myself for being unable to fulfill my duty, for always disappointing my loved ones. This wrath became the foundation for my magic. It was the fuel for my first spell and all that came after. Small sparks of electricity pulsed from her hand. You know, the creator's chosen is usually a light domain cleric. We would be wielding the warm, comforting flames of the creator to spread her love to all who bask in her light. A cold chuckle escaped Artemi's throat. My magic was too volatile, too furious. I ended up becoming a Tempest Domain cleric, a seemingly impossible feat for someone who worships the same deity. I still can't really light candles, only zap them aflame with lightning. Another disappointment added to her excellency's long list, I'm sure. While wrath isn't the healthiest foundation for one's strength, it has kept me going at the very least. She turned towards Sid with a genuinely appreciative smile. I do not know what the cure for your feelings of jealousy may be, but perhaps you should look inward for a foundation of strength as well. Hopefully one that is much better than mine. You know, I concur with what Cole said to you earlier. I also enjoyed having you around, and my life is better for having known you. At the end of the day, you are my best friend as well. Please remember that, regardless of what doubts you may have. Sid looks up at Artemi. Her patient smile felt warm. Sid felt undeserving, but he swallowed the bitter thought back down. Thanks. A loud sniffle suddenly broke them out of their thoughts. The two glanced around to see Agatha blowing her nose in a tissue while wiping away a tear. Ah, you kids are too sweet! What a heartwarming display of friendship! This is better than the theater troupe's last big production.
Sorry, but can you cast Deafen on yourself again?
Agatha scowled indignantly. What? Ugh, fine. Kids these days. I'll be so afraid to show some emotion for once. And here we go! As the two hyenas stood off at the center of the arena, the crowd looked on with excitement. Sid peered at Cole's small frame in the distance anxiously. Was he going to reveal his spellcasting ability to the crowd? Sure, he casted prestidigitation earlier to make his voice loud, but that could be explained away with a few arcane crystals. Combat magic, on the other hand, there was just no hiding it. What's the matter, little fraud? It's not too late to surrender before you get hurt. Oh, I'm feeling just fine groovy. What? You're afraid of losing to a commoner? Calder let out an amused scoff. The sun shall turn cold before I, an esteemed noble heir, lose to the likes of you. I will take pleasure in forcing your hand as a mage. It matters not what reasons you have for hiding your abilities. I will drag them to the light for all to see. Cole felt a familiar, slithering sensation over his shoulder as Malice poked his head out.
Puny mortal, are you certain you can win? Please remain vigilant. If you get clobbered by this man, I will feel all the blows as well.
I can probably take this guy. Wizard class mages have strong magic, but physically they're as resilient as wet paper. One good hit and I can break whatever concentration he needs for spellcasting.
Should you get in trouble, you should consider my proposal. A pact with a demon such as I would grant you more than enough power to crush this despicable man. I can feel it. The temptation to humiliate him is bubbling up inside you.
Cole let out a low laugh. Your marketing skills are getting better. I can give you that. I can take this foppish a-hole on my own though, thanks. In the tower above them, the festival announcer cleared his throat loudly. Competence!
Are you prepared?
No.
May the duel commence!
Ah! He starts with fire! Calder immediately stepped forward, arms outstretched. Fire erupted from his palms in a violent, swirling mass as the hyena cackled gleefully. Behold! My true might! This is the arcane prowess House O'Shaughnessy has at its disposal. Man, for being a wizard, he likes to monologue, no?
still think you can take on the likes of me, little fraud?
Well, frick. Oh, boo-hoo. The wizard cast fireball. How original. Ha! Petty insults will not save you from my flames. Malice poked his head out of Cole's pocket with a squint.
Hey, puny mortal, my offer is still open.
Shh! Shut up! I got this.
Annoying song, annoying song. This is an annoying song. This gonna irritate your senses, cause this is an annoying song. Annoying song, annoying song, annoying song, annoying song. You are really bad at this, but this is an annoying song. Cole raised his lute over his head and began strumming it wildly. The crowd leaned forward, craning their heads for any sign of magic, but there was nothing save for the out-of-tune twangs of his lute. Oh, he's coming closer! What is this nonsense supposed to be? Oh, wait, I think I know what he's doing! You mean you can't sense it? Well, bang! I thought your house was supposed to be arcane experts. Look closer. Calder squinted. What are you talking about? There's not an ounce of magic anywhere near. Bang! El kabong! A sharp smack echoed through the arena. As Calder dropped to the floor like a sack of potatoes, Cole immediately leapt forward with his lute raised. The crowd watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as Cole proceeded to clobber the utter shorts out of him on the arena floor.
Yeah! Can't concentrate on your fancy spells now, can you? Freaking wizards, always talking short when all they do is bury their face in books all darn day. This ain't my first time in a street fight! Calder braced his arms over his head, spluttering furiously in panic. Wait! Get off of me, you brute! This isn't how this duel was supposed to go! I said nothing about strictly magic duel when I challenged you did I? Get frick, a-hole! Yeah! No, sir! Surely this is, against the rules somewhere! The festival announcer scratched his head as the scene unfolded before him. I suppose I should break up this fight now? No, give them a few more minutes, yes. I want to see that little O'Shaughnessy suffer. This Calder might still turn things around. The announcer looked at her incredulously. Ma'am, the guy's just getting his booty beaten into the dirt. He's literally crying out for the duel to end. Despite her veiled face, the announcer could swear that Lady Osmia was smirking wildly as she watched the fight below. Nay, we must respect these fighters and the competitive spirit of the festival. Give them a few more minutes. I yield! I yield! Ow! Please call an end to this outrage! Oof! What? I can't hear you from down there. Please speak up. I heard him loud and clear. Shh, Clyde. Perhaps I should. No. The smacking and screaming went on for a little while longer. In the end, Sid started to feel feel bad for the guy and ran into the field with Artemi following close behind to break up the fight. Hey boss, I think he gets the point. Maybe ease up for a bit? No, keep it up. You have done well, Cole. Keep it up. Come on. This is for us then. This is for us. For freaking Marrow bone breaker. Yes, that's it. You are strong with your freaking weapon. Do it. Sir Marrow will be so proud if he were to witness your deeds. But he's not here right now, so he's up, all right? Cole let out a huff and finally holstered his lute. Fine, my arms were getting tired anyway. You didn't have to go through all this trouble for me. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But next time, you can save me the trouble and clobber the guy yourself. Don't worry, I'll make Hamish pay for whatever assault charges get thrown at you. Stand up for yourself, dude. Crackling back on his feet and nursing his bruised head, Calder jabbed an accusing finger at the group. I shan't forget this humiliation, Colony Broadbreaker. One day I vow to pay back your brutish deeds tenfold. The crowd around them let out a billowing wave of laughter, followed by jeering boos and snickers. Boo! Boo! Hiss! Hiss! You lost to a commoner! Calder's face flushed red with embarrassment and shame. He hastily ran off the field without another word. Finally, the festival announcer's voice rang to the arena once more. And that concludes our impromptu and comedic duel. Thank you, Sirs Calder and Collodi, for your excellent performance. That will allow us to proceed back on schedule. Up next is the jousting tournament. May the participants please make their way to the ring. Our first competitors will be... There was a brief rustle of parchment as the announcer flipped through his list. Oh, well this is... Our first competitors will be esteemed Artemi Johanna Gauthier versus Calder O'Shaughnessy. What? The injured hyena had barely made back to his seat before jerking his head up in shock. From across the field, Artemi shot him a predatory smile. My, how fortuitous! Kick his butt for me, will ya? It will be my pleasure. Cole grinned and raised his hand for a fist bump. Artemi stared at it for several long moments before turking it with a frown. Is this the correct response? I am unfamiliar with this gesture. Dude, it's a fist bump. You're supposed to bump fists to psych yourself up. Ah, I see. This is high five, but with the promise of violence. I will not let you down, Cole. And Sir Sid, just rest assured that Calder O'Shaughnessy will be thoroughly punished for his deeds. Sid watches two gleeful friends with a concerned look.
You guys are a little scary sometimes.
We are defending your honor, as friends should. Anyways, I must be off to prepare for my joust. Wish me luck. Well, we better get back to our seats before someone takes them.
You coming, boss?
Cole was staring out into the sea of people in the viewing booths with an apprehensive expression. Oh, sorry. I think it's actually time for me to go. Sid blinked in surprise.
Go where? The tournament is about to start. Aren't you going to stay and watch?
Cole shook his head firmly. Afraid I can't. There's something important I have to do before the brawl begins. Sid's shoulders slumped.
So you won't be watching me fight?
Unfortunately. Sorry I won't get to watch you kick butt out there. I know you'll do great though. A big guy like you with Clyde's masterwork weapon, I doubt anyone will stand a chance against you.
If you say so.
Sid yelped as Cole suddenly leaned forward and planted a firm kiss on his cheek. A warm wave of calm washed over him as Cole's bardic inspiration filled his body with arcane strength. It felt like a firm, loving hug in spell form. Keep your chin up, alright? You're my lackey. Go show people what beats a mess with our little venturing party. Despite the dreadful lull that weighed over Sid's shoulders, the edge of his lips twitched into a small smile. You know, that CG of Cole beating up O'Shaughnessy, there could have been a lot of CG, like it's just a flip-o-rama, just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Despite the dreadful lull that weighed over Sid's shoulders, the edge of his lips twitched into a small smile.
I'll do my best. It's the least I can do. Good luck on whatever you're off to work on, boss.
Cole shrugged. No rest for the wicked. I'll see you after the tournament ends, buddy. Okay, and then now we end it here. Ooh, that was part 1 of our little story from chapter 3, and then we're gonna have part 2 of chapter 3. So thank you everybody for watching. My name is UkeKooki, signing off saying have a great